phone is right there. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Does it sound alright? My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always nicer when you're here. In fact, it would be completely meaningless without you. So you know. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It wouldn't be the same without you. It would be meaningless, in fact. I really do mean that. Let's see, what are we doing here? We are doing, oh, I know, we're supposed to be doing this other thing right here. We click on this, and then we click on this, and then we click on this. And then we click on this. Da, 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 da. 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 Watcha. Let's see, just one more minute. Just one more minute. I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready. Okay, I'm ready. Hi guys, can you hear me okay? No one has responded to tell me that they can hear me okay. I'm wondering if you can hear me okay. The telephone is working, right? See, telephone's working. No one is telling me if the microphone is working. I can see the microphone working over here, but I don't know how it sounds to you. So, I am about ready for a bong hit. I only have one bong hit ready though. I didn't press any weed yet today. So I only have this one dab left to smoke. But I also have an elphinstone in here. So we can burn the elphinstone if we need to burn an elphinstone. So elphinstone, got an elphinstone in there. So audio is good. Okay, Craig, thank you. Okay, good to see you all. Let's see. So it's raining in Seattle, and also Santa is on South Park tonight, which I'm very excited about. Because I don't know if you guys remember the last time Santa was on South Park. But he took off. When he left, he was pissed. So, I got a feeling he has not gotten over it yet. And Santa on South Park does not play around. Santa took on Saddam Hussein back in the day and fucking kicked ass. Santa and Jesus, together they took on Saddam. South Park Santa, which was awesome. South Park Santa kicks ass, like I said, and so on the last episode of South Park that Santa was on, right? In the last episode of South Park that Santa was on, there was like a strike at Amazon, and so no one could get their packages, and they were like, "Oh no, Christmas is ruined," and then all of a sudden they go, "What's that up in the sky?" And it's Santa flying in his sleigh, right? And Santa's like, "Oh, oh, oh," and Santa flies down, and they're all like, "Oh, yay! Christmas is saved!" And like, "Hi everybody, it's so good to see you all." And he's like, "And where's my favorite Christmas poo, Mr. Hanky?" And everybody's like, "Oh, Mr. Hanky doesn't live here anymore. And like, why isn't Mr. Hanky here? And like, we had to make Mr. Hanky go away. And I'm like, why? What did he do? And Santa's like, what did he do? Fuck a bunch of kids or something? And they're like, no, he said some bad things, and we had to banish him forever. And, and they're like, and Santa's like, he said some bad things. Is that right? He said some bad things. And Santa gets back in his Christmas sleigh and he flies away and he says, have fun sucking Jeff Bezos' dick, you bunch of cucks, and takes off. So that was the last time we saw Santa on South Park. So I'm very excited about seeing him tonight. Hopefully he'll have a better attitude. Otherwise, Christmas is ruined. How are my little ninjas tonight? It's good to see you, my little ninjas. Okay, so I got that going for me. After we get done here, I am going to go watch South Park. I'm going to go press some flowers and have a big fat dab and watch South Park, and it's going to be cool because Santa's going to be on it. But before then, we have a clip of the New Jersey shooting that happened yesterday. I played a clip yesterday, and they were talking about, and we were talking about all the bullets that were being fired, and like they had schools on lockdown and stuff. In the clip tonight, they talk repeatedly about how the people that were the shooters in that incident were anti-police, how they had anti-police writings on the internet and stuff like that. And wow, man, I would think that, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, which has been turned into a police state, that an awful lot of people would probably, proud Americans would probably be kind of anti-police, Not like Donald Trump. Not like, oh, we love our police. Hello, caller. Michael, what are you doing?
I was just watching Adam Green's excellent live stream that's over now about the executive order that our fine orange-haired Jew president signed today. And essentially, I know that you are against any kind of government labeling of protest as hate speech, right?
I'm all for free speech, man.
Yeah, well, today he criminalized anyone on an American campus. He made them criminals, and he's threatening to defund every school that gets money from the government, which is all of them, if they allow any kind of pro-Palestinian demonstration or any criticism of anything that Israel does. They're all criminals now. All these young people that have been participating in the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, which is a political movement, just like, they got rid of the apartheid government in South Africa by the same thing, by boycott and divestment. And lots of schools have already divested from Israeli settlements and a lot of things that are Israeli businesses that support the massacres that go on there and the social injustice, the apartheid state of Israel. Mm-hmm. There's already lots of schools that have divested, and so basically we saw this coming for the last, well, on September 11th, 2018, he made a speech in front of a AIPAC or Jewish committee, a Jewish organization. It wasn't AIPAC, it was somebody else. And he threatened to do it. And then today he did it. So these people, it's either up to the universities and the schools to call the cops and punish the people who hold up a Free Palestine sign or say, I'm against bombing civilians in Palestine or whatever they're saying. If they say boycott, if they hold up a sign that says BDS, if the schools don't bust them and arrest them or get it off of their campuses, they'll lose federal money. That was the actionable result of today's executive order. It was an executive order. It failed to pass the House. It failed to pass the Senate. So because he's a servant of Israel, he passed an executive order. So I'm looking at in the long game, and I'm realizing, as soon as something happens, some lawyer representing somebody or some institution will just push it through the courts, and it'll end up in front of the Supreme Court, whether or not protest is hate speech and criticizing. Essentially what he did today was he said, in his own words, that Judaism is a nationality now. He defined Judaism as a nationality. So apparently he tried to buy Greenland about 8 months ago. That fell through. Today he declared Judaism as a nationality. You don't happen to think Judaism is a nationality, do you?
No, I really hate the idea of a country having a religion. I think that's disgusting.
Here we got voodoo religions. I forget the name of it. That Creole religion that combines Catholicism and voodoo back down south in New Orleans. I forget the name of that, but we got all kinds of. We got Wicca. There's Satanists. Apparently, there's satanic statues up somewhere. I can't remember there. We got Christians. We got Pentecostals. We got Catholicism. We got Muslims. We got Hindus. We got Sikhs. We got everybody here in the United States, and nobody's really bitching about it except the crazy people. It's like, I don't care what religion you are. I don't care. I've met a lot of Sikhs, and they are some of the best people on earth, I'll tell you. I don't know if you know the history of the Sikh
little bit.
Yeah, they're basically defenders of the people's rights, and they're try to step in between wars and massacres. They have a history of doing that. They're great people, and they're not Muslims. Okay, they wear those turbans and they got the beards, and they're really cool people. But here in the United States, we got everybody. You got people worshiping penguins. You got people that, they got a snake religion. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to you. But apparently, Judaism is now a nationality. So if I converted to Judaism tomorrow, I guess I would be officially, it's like saying if I converted to Buddhism, I'd be officially Chinese or something like that. It's stupid. It's crooked. It ain't going to last, and it's going to be a very, very interesting...
well, what's more important than it is stupid and it ain't going to last is that it shows that Trump has no respect for the Constitution or your rights. He'll talk again and again how much he loves the Constitution and how much we love our freedom and how much we have to protect our freedom. But boy, he can't wait to take it away from you, just like all the other shithead politicians. Okay, because that's what he's doing, is he's saying you can't speak out against Israel, and if you do, it's going to be problems for you. Okay, so that's where we're at. You no longer have the right to freedom of speech in this country because of executive order by Donald J. Trump.
Right. That's exactly why it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I don't know. I'm not savvy enough to predict the time frame on. I think it's going to get slowed down in every court, every district court, before it ever gets to the Supreme Court. But at least the dumb fuck politicians in Washington were smart enough to know this is never going to fly. So they didn't let it pass the House or the Senate. But yeah, you're totally right. You're favoring, you're shutting down free speech. First Amendment, which is all BDS is. It's all what I am. I'm a guy exercising my First Amendment to criticize massacres going on, not just in Israel, but South America, China, every fucking place, Europe.
It's not just that. It's not just that. It is the foundation of capitalism. So it's not just freedom of speech, but they always say vote with your dollars. Vote with your dollars. If you don't like what that company is doing, then don't spend your money with them. But we're not allowed to do that with Israel, because if we do,
yeah, apparently that Citizens United amendment, which made corporate dollars speech, it's okay for corporate dollars to be considered speech, which it's not. We both agree that it's not. But it's not okay to make your withdrawal of your dollars from an Israeli business or the state of Israel as a whole. That's not free speech. That's hate speech. So you have the dichotomy of those two principles. Both are incorrect. The corporations giving money to politicians is not speech, and shutting down free speech anywhere in the United States, especially on campuses, and then mandating a presidential mandate that there's a punishment involved for saying Israel is an apartheid state. That's not correct either. So we see here that the government wants to get both sides of the coin. And, it's not even a subtext. I would call it a subtext, but what is painfully obvious is that Obama was bought off and installed as president by powerful Jewish forces, and those Jewish forces have come out in writing many years ago stating exactly that, and everybody who knows about it knows Obama was the first Jewish president. And here we have the next clown, the orange Jewish clown, orange juice. He's going even further than Obama ever would have gone himself. And Obama went further than Bush did, Obama went further in the financial scams. Obama
sent Israel bunker buster bombs when they're in the middle of bombing fucking women and children and UN shelters because they were running out of bombs to bomb the women and children with.
Yeah,
okay? That's who Obama is.
Yeah, not just Gaza, but Obama was called the drone king for a reason. I mean, he upped the drone war by a factor of many. Can't say how much, but certainly way more than double the amount of drones and the amount of drone warfare. And that was a political decision on his part because he's supposed to be the hipster, cool peace president, right? So let's just not have a bunch of soldiers killed. Let's just have smart bombs on my drone army, and we can blow up weddings with no American casualties. So that's why Obama was called the drone king. And then here we have Trump fucking the American people in another complete way. So it's a parade of puppets. And today the puppet that we elected, he did something stupid in it, and it's really big news. And it might not affect everybody listening, but it is a unprecedented political event, and there will be a blowback. I mean, I don't know who from yet, but there will be. It will, if it stands, if it doesn't get shot down in one of the courts, it'll get shot down in the Supreme Court. We hope. We hope there's still somebody with a couple brain cells on the Supreme Court. I don't know.
I can't trust the people on the Supreme Court to protect our freedoms. I mean, that would be kind of that would be one of those things where you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So I wouldn't have a whole lot of hope for the SCOTUS, but I do believe in the Constitution, and I do believe that there's only so much that the people will take, and the people will be, the people are, and that we're very close to that now. So
maybe I hope we are, but I'm not convinced of it. But if you look back in time a year or so when Trump couldn't get his funding through the House or the Senate for the wall on the southern border, So what does he do? He allocates by presidential decree money from the Pentagon to build his wall. And then that got shut down in federal court, not to the Supreme Court, just it got stopped in a federal court. And now we have another bonehead move that he just did today on a completely different issue. And I think we've seen enough of Trump to know he doesn't fucking back down unless you twist his arm. Like he got his arm twisted financially by the federal court shutting down his absconding with military funds to build a wall. That's cool. I can dig it, but I'm more concerned about this bonehead move. This is a move. It might not affect everyone directly, like how many people are Palestinian activists and how many people go on campus and hold up a sign that says Israel is a war criminal. That's hate speech now. That's hate speech now to do that. And if the universities don't stop with their campus police people from doing that, and that's what we're going to see.
Is hate speech on a university or hate speech everywhere?
Just on a university. A president can tell me, there's 2 moons in the sky by presidential decree, but all I got to do is look up and I say, oh, there's only 1 moon up there, dude. And so I fuck his presidential decrees. This is we got the.
See, now, let me say something real quick. This is the kind of thing that makes it so that Donald Trump deserves to be impeached, because by doing this, he proves that he is an enemy to the Constitution. Okay, and that's what the Congress is supposed to be. That's what their vow is, to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And by Donald Trump, by executive order, limiting free speech, shows that he is an enemy to the Constitution and to all humans everywhere, because any type of censorship is a crime against humanity. It's as if saying, he's saying you're no longer allowed to say that. And who the fuck does he think he is again? Who the fuck are you, Donald Trump? Because you don't know who the fuck I am, and you don't tell me what I can and can't do. You fucking piece of garbage.
Yeah. That's exactly what he's saying. Is that he gets to tell you what you can and can't say, and he's going to put the financial weight of funding. He's going to withhold funding from universities that don't do something about people like me. I've never actually been on a university holding a sign, but lots of my friends have, and lots of people do, and it's better than holding up a sign that says, change the climate, global warming, change the climate, please.
Free hugs!
Yeah, right, free hugs. I don't know, free hugs might be the best of them, but he doesn't want. He picked out a special group of people. That's people who support Israel. Some of them are Christians. All of them are conservative. A lot of them are Jews. And the reason nobody in Congress or the Senate is going to do anything about it, because every single motherfucker in Congress and Senate has a little red pin on their lapel. You can see it on C-SPAN. And that's an AIPAC pin. And that means I support Israel, and I get money from AIPAC. And
by the suitcase.
By the suitcase. And I'm not going to cut off my funding for my congressional seat or my Senate seat by criticizing Israel. And so nothing's going to happen. It's going to have to go through the courts, because the Senate and the House just passed the buck. They said, well, we can't do that. So it didn't fly. So Trump, the orange Jew Trump, he took it upon himself to say, well, I'm the greatest friend of Israel. I'm the chosen one. I'll do this myself. And so he passed it's not really a law, but it is a presidential decree officially stating that Jews are now a nationality, even though they come from 4 47 different countries, and to criticize Jews is hate speech, or to criticize Israel is hate speech. And there's plenty of Jews criticizing Israel. Everybody knows that. There's hundreds of thousands of Jews criticizing Israel. And so this is not a small deal. It's an infringement upon the right of free speech for every American, and it's not going to fly. But the propaganda is so heavy that if you're not familiar with the Israel-Palestine conflict, you're going to say, what's wrong with trying to stop people from defunding Israel? What's wrong with that? It's like, hey, we did the same thing in South Africa, and we got rid of that racist South African government. I know it's fucked up now, but that's a different story. And so what's wrong with supporting Israel? You mean I shouldn't give my money to the IDF? The IDF is defending itself from terrorists, So, they're making money hand over foot. You got the fundraisers from 15 different Jewish organizations. You got 11 million plus over-the-table dollars every day going to Israel from the U.S. government. I think so far we've given, God, I wish I had the figure in front of me. I got it saved on Facebook. But, in the trillions of dollars we've given to Israel so far since 1948, in the trillions, and or at least it's in the hundreds of billions. I'm not sure. So that's United States citizens' money that we could have solved drug problems. We could have solved the homeless problem. We could have solved Medicare for all problem. But we gave the money away to Israel. So if you think that this situation in that podunk little country on the Mediterranean, it's called Palestine, and that situation that's been going on there since 1946 and before, even before, if you think it has nothing to do with your American life, you're crazy. Because look what happened today. I mean, today Donald Trump picked out one people called Jewish people, and he said they have special rights and you can't talk bad about them. Otherwise, I'll take your money away from you. And technically, he's not talking about Jews, like you said. He's talking about Israel. Israel is a special country, and if we talk bad about them, if we say Israel's doing something bad, then I'll take your money away from you. So we'll see. I mean, it's a free speech issue, but to me, it's kind of a landmark in history, even though it just happened. Other people aren't going to feel the same way. It's just that
it's look, like I said, it's just really important as to show how Donald Trump feels about you, about your rights, okay? How much he respects your right, your freedom, how much Donald Trump cares about it. Like I said, this is the impeachable offense right here. This is it. This proves that he is an enemy to the Constitution. The vow Congress takes is to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So who is the real terrorist here? Okay, he wants to say, because you want to speak out, because you have a fucking bleeding heart and you care about people and you want to speak out, that makes you evil, and we're going to treat you like that from now on. And you no longer have the right to do that, or else you're in trouble. You just committed hate speech, and that's a problem. And this is the deal, okay? This is the impeachable event, and it's so sad that
it's one of many.
That the Congress wants to fucking dick around and make it so that fucking everybody's trying to protect this guy. You know what I mean? It's just it's beyond. It's beyond, man. I can't. I really am. I'm really upset about this, Mark. I mean, Mike. This is the kind of shit. This is the kind of shit that really pisses me off, man. You know, because
Well,
Donald Trump is supposed to be the guy who's fucking gonna be different and whatever. And it's I don't want to
well, you and me and all my friends that are activists and we're kind of politically savvy. We've been playing this game or watching the game for a long, long time and paying attention, not just like it's some soap opera. We're actually paying attention to the details. And so we know that eventually there's going to be a legal showdown on this one issue that he signed his name on today. And it's a constitutional issue. I'm betting you it'll get shot down in a federal court. I don't know how soon, but it's just an example. If just the fact that we don't hear an outcry from the House and the Senate on his presidential decree tells you the House and the Senate is already bought off by Israel.
Right.
That's a worse point. That's a worse point. I mean, I know the history of how the Jewish lobby and the World Zionist Organization took over America, and it's pretty shocking what I would say. I would make people poop their pants if I went into the history of it, and people would call me an anti-Semite. I mean, it's but I'd rather not go down that road. I don't want to explain history to people, but
it's not, and it's just not that. Look, the history is happening right now. Okay.
Right.
When Donald Trump is saying you can't say this about that country, and I mean he's not saying you can't say shit about the United States. He's saying you can't say shit about. I mean it's fine to say shit about the United States. You can't say shit about Israel. I mean what the hell is happening here?
Yeah, it's a free speech issue, and if you just think back to and so we see that this Jewish power and these Jewish lobbies are in the multiple, not just AIPAC. There's more than one Jewish lobby, but AIPAC is the largest and the most powerful, and they give the most money to our politicians. Tens and 20s and maybe even more.
Let me explain how it works, okay? If you're a candidate running for Senate, let's say, AIPAC will throw an event where hundreds of people will show up. And they'll all have credit cards, and if you're running for the Senate and you're one of their guys, they will all run their credit cards to the maximum amount for donations to your candidacy. So there's 100 people right there, and they just maxed out, and that's how an AIPAC works.
Right. Right. Okay. I won't get into the specifics of that, but that's what's happening right now. That was happening 10 years ago. That was happening 20 and 30 years ago. And right now, AIPAC is right on par with all the other powerful lobbies, with the military, industrial lobbies, Raytheon and Boeing and all those lobbies, right on par as far as political power with the pharmaceutical lobbies, which gives these people lots of money, and they kind of are inclined to do whatever the pharmaceutical lobby wants. And so what you got is a bunch of bought-off politicians. And
from top to bottom, both sides.
Both sides, Republicans and Democrats. And personally, I think the Democrats are more bought off than the Republicans, as we're seeing with the clown show, which I don't watch anymore.
But that's a ridiculous thing to say, because they're both just bought off. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, okay, but it's the Democrats running the clown show on TV that
it's not a matter of one is this bought off and the other one is this bought off. If you're bought off, you're fucking bought off, and that's the fact.
You're factually correct, Mike, but I just had to throw in a little dig there at the impeachment hearings, because that's a clown show unto itself.
The impeachment, okay, this is the impeachable event. What you're talking about shows that Donald Trump is an enemy of the Constitution. Okay, and that's what I want to make clear here, is that above and beyond all else, Donald Trump is there to protect our rights He takes the same vow that they take in Congress to protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and he has proven himself to be an enemy by doing this.
All the other clowns are doing absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a perfectly impeachable offense, but they're bought off too, so they're not going to do anything about this one particular thing that is an impeachable offense.
Right. It's the same reason they don't do anything about the war crimes of George W. Bush, because they're all culpable in that also.
Yeah, I would call that a lack of representation. They're not doing the will of the people. Everybody knows it. Don't pay attention to the puppet show. There's a man behind the curtain, a bunch of people behind the curtain pulling the strings, and they're putting on a puppet show for you. Don't get fooled by the puppet show, because it's for children. We're not children anymore. We're grown-ups in a corrupt world, and it's kind of incumbent upon everybody who wants to be a grown-up to at least take notice of it, if not do something about it,
Well, I'm really glad you called, because this like I said, this is the most important thing that's going on. And if there was to be an impeachable event, it would be this. It's just so in our faces, when you take this oath and it says, all enemies to the Constitution, I think that's pretty clear that this is what Donald Trump is doing. But of course, this is what the whole Congress does every single day, as they chip away at the Constitution.
Right. They're not our friends. They're not our allies. Bernie takes more money from the military-industrial complex than anybody running for president right now. Bernie Sanders.
Huh. And this is what I've always said about Bernie, is that he speaks a good game, but what did he ever do to stop the fucking wars?
Yeah, we've already seen what Bernie's balls are made of. They're made of mashed potatoes. They just fall right off. He ain't got no balls.
They're in Hillary Clinton's purse, I thought.
Good one. Yeah, but I'll make a prediction right now that within the year, this will get slammed down by some federal court and be ruled unconstitutional. But
here's what I hope. Here's my prediction: is that tomorrow on every campus across the United States, every university, there will be people out with signs about the Palestinians and about the crimes of Israel, about Gaza,
I hope you're right.
And that there's just massive protest on all the campuses, because this is the kind of thing that should take away all of Donald Trump's support. All of these people who are Donald Trump supporters are proud to be an American. You know what I'm saying? If you're proud to be an American, then you fucking fight for freedom. You fight for the fucking Constitution, and you stand up when some dickhole says, you're not allowed to say that. Well, yes, I am, because I'm a fucking American. Okay? And I've been able to say what I want to say since I was 5 years old, because that's my right.
Yeah, technically right now it's somewhat illegal and punishable, definitely punishable, to stand on an American campus, university, and say, I support Palestinian human rights. That's illegal now.
So, and I just hope that that's what happens tomorrow, is that there's protest on every campus across the United States, and that it's a kind of thing that grows and grows, because again, this is freedom of expression. This is like shutting down this BDS. He thinks with the swipe of a pen he can shut down the BDS movement. That should intensify it tenfold.
Yeah, I hope it does. It's unless there's a war going on, I try not to get too emotionally involved, because if you're sitting in sorrow for years and years and years, you're gonna become a very unfunctional person.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, your eyes and your soul can only take so much bloodshed.
Yeah.
This is it's an interesting political situation. It shows you what a dumb fuck Trump is. It's like, well, yeah, we don't need the Constitution. Boom. The Jewish money is, we love Israel.
Well, the problem is it has to be explained to people. I think that this is what he's doing. Is it when he says we don't need, when he does this, that's what he's saying. Is that we don't need the Constitution. You don't need your First Amendment rights, and I should be able to take away any part of it that I see fit.
Yeah, well, if Trump could, anybody who tweets a tweet against him would be arrested. That's how sensitive the guy is.
Yeah.
It's like, God, okay, dude, I'm sorry I made fun of your hair, dude. I'm sorry, fuck.
I'm not sorry, fuck you.
So that's pretty interesting, but yeah, how are you doing today, Michael?
I'm good. I got some more dirt. I got another bag of dirt, so I'm ready to go because I got more pots. I got these octo pots, so like 6-gallon pots. I'm gonna do 8 plants, so I got enough dirt to do 8 plants. I'm gonna finish setting up the second tent tonight, except for ventilation, and then I will be. I'm gonna start some seeds, so I'm good.
Can you connect both tents together?
They're right next to each other, so I ought to be able to connect them together.
Yeah, but technically they don't have zippers that interlock them.
Oh no, they're different companies.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because you could probably get an extra 2 plants if you connected them together. And you shared the light because there's ambience in the tent.
Yeah, no, I get you. No, I want to do separate. I want to do like I'm gonna veg them all out under the same light, and then we're gonna flower under 2 different lights and compare them. And it's like the 2 hot lights on the market now, so it should be an attention getter.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll do good, man. You pay attention to details. And
did you hear me talking about? There's this plant that I've been reading. I can't stop looking at seeds. I have to stop looking at seeds, but I can't stop. But there's this plant that I was talking about yesterday, where you have to veg it for 4 months, for at least 4 months. Did you hear me saying that?
Yeah, I did, but that's common. They all got different seasons and stuff like that,
But the indoor growers, a lot of them are like, they just veg for 4 weeks and then they go to flower,
Yeah, otherwise it runs you a bundle in electricity.
Yeah, well, that makes sense too. But this plant is called God's vagina. I was like,
oh
why is it that I wanted to grow? Why was I talking about this plant like I wanted it so bad? I want to veg something for 4 months. What the fuck? And I was like, oh yeah, it's called God's vagina. And I remembered that I just want to talk about God's vagina all day, all night. I want to smell God's vagina. I want to push my face in God's vagina. I want to taste God's vagina on my lips day and night.
Well, in the about the Gnostic Gospels, right?
Gnostic?
Yeah, the Gnostic Gospels. Yeah.
Okay.
The Nag Hammadi, the Gospel of Thomas, all those Gnostic Gospels.
Uh-huh.
Well, somebody I know, a guy named John Lamb Lash, he's the only non-Christian interpreter of the original Coptic texts. The Gnostic Gospels were written in Coptic, which is kind of similar to Greek, but it's Coptic. And he read them in the Coptic, and he put together this ancient myth from the Gnostic Gospels, which says that unlike all other planets, Earth was actually created by not a male and a female together, but just a female, and her name was Sophia. It's the myth of Sophia. And she came from the center of the galaxy, and she created this planet as an experiment, and there was already planets here, but there were some creatures here that got caught up in the process, and she actually almost got, she sort of got trapped here, so now our planet Earth is called Gaia Sophia. And so the God who created this Earth, according to the Gnostics, was a woman and did have a vagina. But it's an interest. You would love the myth. It's probably the best myth I've ever heard, and it would be very familiar to a person like Jesus, who was walking around 2,000 years ago. He was fully aware of all this stuff. But the best plant I've ever seen, the prettiest, was called, and it's very tasty too, it's called Cushadelic. And it was like orange and yellow and purple and brown and green and blue and red and like, fuck! I'd never seen a plant like that. It was so beautiful, you know. But if you can get some of that stuff, I don't know what the yield is, but if you're into like specialty plants, that'd be a great one to grab.
It was Cushadelic?
Cushadelic, yeah.
I will look.
Yeah, a friend of mine got it from up north in Mendocino County, I think.
Huh. Those guys know what they're doing up there for sure.
Yeah, they're up from me and they're down from you.
So what's going on with you?
I just ate some spaghetti like a good Catholic Italian boy, and I just tuned into your show, and I thought that was kind of important to let people know about that. Apparently, anyone who's Jewish now has a nationality. They're not from Poland. They got a new nationality. They're not from Russia.
And what nationality is it that they have now?
Jewish.
Jewish. They're the Jewish nationality.
Right. So apparently all black people, if they would have equal rights with Jews, they would no longer be Nigerian or Ethiopian or Haitian. They would be black people from the black nationality, you know. So it's a ludicrous thing by a bunch of ludicrous people that use language to couch their real intentions. And the real intention is just like, hey, the Jewish people got the money, and I'm just going to do what they say. And
well, the real intention is to wipe the Palestinians off the face of the earth.
Yeah, and because, you know, that's good. That's valuable land, man, and it's not.
It's some very nice beachfront property.
Oh yeah. I mean, I keep telling people in Gaza, hey, you know, what do you say to people that are getting bombed and people whose kids and aunts are getting blown up and people who have no fathers and people who are in wheelchairs and mothers that got 5 kids because their husband got killed? You know, what do you say to them? And so,
I can only say I'm sorry.
Yeah, but, you know, I used to tell people, like, all the way back in 2014, I would try to give them hope, and I told them, listen, everybody in the world is on your side. Gaza will be a port, and you guys will have products, and you will have tourism, and we'll make Gaza into a great port and a great tourist site. And so I don't say that anymore. It's like, God, it's like, I don't know what to say to these people.
Say I'm sorry. That's all you can say, man. There's just like, it's like, you know, what do you say to fucking people that are being genocided? Right. What is there to say? You say I'm sorry, and I hope that, you know, people learn from this. What do you say? You know, I mean, because that's what's happening, is that these people are being pushed off the face of the earth into the ocean so that can all become Israel. And Donald Trump has green-lighted it as much as he possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
And made it so that you're not allowed to speak out and against it.
Jerusalem was declared by the United Nations in 1948 as an international protected city. But now, according to Donald Trump and Netanyahu and lots of other people, Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. But it's, you know, so what you're going to see, because you have what's called the Al-Haram al-Sharif, which is the Muslim Dome of the Rock, right? That's a mosque. It's the third most important Muslim holy site. It's called Al-Haram al-Sharif. And then right down below that, about 1 acre, 2-3 acres away, is the Wailing Wall, where here's a funny little fact for you. The Jews go up, you know, you ever seen the Jews with their little black hats, and they rock back and forth next to the Wailing Wall? We've all seen that, right?
Yeah.
And what they do is they write their prayers on a piece of paper, and then they shove the piece of paper into the crack, which is a pretty cool fashion. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I'd stick my prayers on a piece of paper and shove them into a wall. The Tibetans do it differently. They hang flags and let the wind carry their prayers away. But I guess that's even cooler is the hanging the flags. But the Jews, they stick their little prayers in the wall, and then they rock back and forth like that, and they pray for whatever amount of time. And then they walk away. And at the end of the day, I've seen janitors pushing a broom along the wall, and they're sweeping all the prayers away with the broom that fell out of the cracks of the wall every single day. So that's kind of, a metaphor for your prayer has not been delivered, and they throw the prayers which are written on these pieces of paper in the trash. And it's like, fuck. So you got the Dome of the Rock, Al-Haram al-Sharif, and some other buildings up there. And then down below that is the Wall, which used to be a Moroccan bazaar, but they wiped out the bazaar I don't know the real. I think it was 1967. They wiped out the bazaar in 2 days, and there was like 200 vendors and 200 families that had businesses right there, which is now the Wailing Wall. Yeah. And they just wiped them all out in 2 days. Yeah. And they now it's an institutionalized. So little by little, they take this piece of land, they take that piece of land, and sooner or later, we all know what their prime directive is they want to build the third temple at the Dome of the Rock. So we're not like living on the same planet where people can get along. It's like, dude, I'll leave your mosque alone if you leave my temple alone. That's like rule number one. Don't fuck with other people's shit.
This is the deal. This is the deal. If you want me to respect you, this is the deal with cops. This is the deal with everything. If you want respect, then treat people with respect. If you want me to respect your religion, then you better sure as hell respect other people's religion. Okay? Otherwise, you don't deserve to have your religion respected because you don't respect other people. It's that simple.
Yeah, well, in any case of criminality, if you've got people supporting the criminal and harassing and attacking the victim or re-traumatizing the victim or demonizing the victim, those victims are getting re-traumatized to such an extent. It's like, oh my God, my house just got blown up and my kids were killed, but I'm the bad guy. And they're just like, just imagine what something like that would do to your life. I've had it done in my life, but everybody's suffered sorrow and loss. But, that's what's happening in Palestine is these people came from Europe. They were promised, they swindled their way into it in 19...
I want to talk about that.
Okay,
it's all right.
Yeah.
But the important part is what Trump did today. That's what really matters. Is it Trump? And it matters what's happening to the Palestinians for sure. But what Trump did today, because what Trump did today has a lot to do with what's going to happen to the Palestinians in the future and what other people are going to be able to even just say about what's happening to the Palestinians. And that's what the real problem is again, that's what I mean by him green-lighting the genocide of the Palestinians. He's saying, now you can no longer speak about the genocide of the Palestinians because it's going to be considered a hate crime. Right. So he just said, go ahead and do it, Netanyahu. Go ahead, bulldoze them into the ocean. No one's going to be allowed to speak out about it. So go ahead and do it.
Yeah, well, it's a tricky situation. What we really need to uncover a lot of these atrocities occurring on planet Earth simultaneously, by the way, all over the Earth. France, Hong Kong, South America. What we really need is a clear communication. We need proper internet systems that can convey us what's really happening on the ground right now And if we see it with our own eyes, somehow we will become changed. Our hearts will arise up in our bodies, and we'll learn to speak out and become brave, like you're doing right now. That's exactly your intention by having these mock talks. I hope you don't mind. That's a pretty good name for your mock talks, So that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to convey information so that people can wake up. And this is exactly what we need in all situations and in all locations. So they know that the free flow of information will result in their inevitable downfall, and the unveiling of all the crimes and all the histories we don't know about. That will become public knowledge. So, there is lots of atrocities going on, and we Americans, we're having atrocities committed against us all the time. It's not as severe as in other places on the globe, but still, it's up to us to rise up and say no more. Fuck you. Fuck off. You're not my boss. Or whatever you got to do. That we just got to keep fighting. That's what Julian Assange said. He said, "Keep fighting."
Resistance is victory.
And existence is resistance to the Palestinians. That's one of their mottos. If you can exist, your simple existence, simply keeping yourself alive, is resistance. Existence is resistance, and that's why they refuse to die, despite not having any water or 3 hours electricity or raw sewage or pesticides sprayed on them. Not to mention the bombs and the specialized weapons. Existence is resistance to them.
Yeah, well, I get that. I guess that makes a lot of sense, because that's what it seems like to the Israelis. Just them existing is somehow them fighting back. Just them fucking existing is them fighting back, is them harassing us. You know?
You're 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, Michael. God bless you.
Hey, it's good to hear from you.
Okay, bro.
Okay, and that's Michael, and I'm so glad he called and started the show off with that conversation, because again, the Democrats want to be all, we have to impeach Donald Trump. But see, this is an actual impeachable offense. Hello, caller.
Hey, I really like where everything's going with the talks about Israel, but I really want to see them titties.
Hung up. He hung up. I knew it was a troll because it said anonymous. Again, but this is the impeachable event that Donald Trump just did. If he has signed an executive order somehow limiting the free speech of Americans, of U.S. citizens, that means that he has shown himself to be an enemy to the Constitution. Okay, and he took a vow. This is what the Democrats keep talking about when they're talking about impeachment. Is they're talking about, we took a vow to the Constitution to protect the Constitution. We took a vow to our sacred deity.
This call.
Hello, caller.
Michael, you got that big gray beard. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, it sounds like that coconut oil is working pretty good, huh?
Well, interesting you mentioned that. It's on my stovetop right now. I'm literally staring at a boiling pot of water with a jar of infused coconut oil in it. And I'm just waiting, Mike, patiently waiting for it to be finished. I got a little bit of time left.
Cool. I don't know how long you cook the coconut oil. How long are you gonna do it for?
Well, I've been keeping the temperature at 220 F, and I've been going for about 3 hours now.
Cool.
And I think I might take it off.
Right on. Well, excellent. I'm looking forward to hearing how that turns out. What's going on else besides Pete?
Damn, man, you are really quiet. I can barely hear you. Wait, hold on. Let me try to plug my headphones in. Maybe it'll be louder.
Oh. Hello, hello, hello.
I
Hello.
can barely fucking hear you.
What is wrong with your
I heard you well
phone?
when I was listening to you, but now that I'm calling you, I can barely hear you.
Weird.
Fuck.
Oh, Pete. Your phone is fucking with you, man.
No, I got my fucking volume on max.
Well, so are you out of brownies yet, or are are you just finishing them off now?
Well, Mike, I want to say first, we are all Palestinians. Okay,
Uh-huh.
we're all Palestinians.
We are now.
And
We are now.
Donald Trump, if he didn't have enough impeachable offensive, if he didn't have enough impeachable offenses on his palate, he has more now. I mean, you're trying to tell Americans that we need to censor our speech? I mean, is this guy lost his mind? I think he has. I think he's officially lost his mind.
Yeah,
This is not going to work well for Mr. Trump.
I think it's his worst move. I mean, he's sucked Netanyahu's balls day and night trying to get him reelected. But I think this is probably the worst thing that he's done, is to try and this is the important part of Donald Trump that you need to recognize. Donald Trump, he stands up there before every speech and plays "Proud to be an American," and
Mike, every single fucking president has done the exact same fucking thing. They bend over and spread their fucking asshole for fucking Israel. That's just fucking how it is. Every fucking president.
But they didn't say you can't say this. You're not allowed to say this. If you say this,
you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. This is kind of I do not like Israel telling us what we can and can't
I don't
say.
want anybody telling us.
That's not really key to me, Mike.
This is this is the problem with. I've said this over and over again. This is the problem with humans, okay? Humans don't like being told what to do. And this is why I hope that the response to this tomorrow is to see protest after protest in college campus across the fucking country. And if you don't do that, I will be severely let down, students of America. I will be severely let down that you're not bold enough to go out and speak up when action is called for.
Oh, Mike, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't hear a peep out of the fucking college students.
Yeah, well, I would be extremely surprised.
When it comes, to being against anything, even slightly, any slightly right-wing leaning political people, they want to fucking chastise and, but when it comes to shit like this, I bet you they won't say a fucking thing. We probably won't hear anything about this at all.
It's entirely possible. I know that I expect too much of people. I expect them to speak out against the war and stuff like that. But this is the kind of thing. Again, this is the kind of thing where, and it may just be me, but when you draw a line in the sand and you say, you better not step across that line. My first instinct is to jump over that fucking line, because the first thing that we're going to need to get clear here is that you're not the boss of me. If we're going to have a relationship about anything at all, you need to understand that you are not the motherfucking boss of me.
Absolutely, and dude, especially when he's in the middle of, everyone wants to impeach him, and he's doing this shit. What the fuck is he thinking? I mean, this, I don't know. Maybe I'm not understanding all this. Maybe this is all out of context. I can't imagine that Trump is actually trying to do some shit like this in the middle of the impeachment inquiry. It doesn't make any sense.
It's actually it does. I mean,
is this a desperate grab? He's grabbing for Israeli support. He's like, I'm going to get
not Israeli support. It's not Israeli support. It's the evangelicals, right? The evangelicals is a huge voting bloc, and they can't get enough of Israeli support. They love it.
Oh, okay. I don't know, Mike. I don't understand. Mike, look, I'm just a working guy. I wake up at 8. I go home at 5, and I smoke some weed and have some cocktails. That's me. I'm just your regular, everyday American. I can't keep up with all this shit. Nobody can. All I know is that I'm staring at a nice batch of coconut oil that's on my stove right now. This shit's about ready, Mike.
Well, don't rush it, man. Good things take time, Pete. Good things take time. Remember that.
Bro, I know you're very adamant about the time. I know you go for 24 hours and all the shit. Bro, you go longer than anyone I've ever seen. And I don't mean to be a dick, Mike, but I think you're fucking up. I think you're going for way too long. I think
my brownies work very good, Pete. Very, very good.
I'm sure they
in fact, I gave a brownie to someone the other day, which was incredibly weak brownie, and she told me it was the best she's ever felt in her life.
Well, Mike, the thing that you do, and I've watched your video, all right? I'm watching you, motherfucker. I know what you do. And you have an abundance of weed that not a lot of, typical Americans have access to. And you just keep adding weed. You're like, I'll just keep adding water.
Look, more will fit. More's going to fit in there. We can get some more in there. Let's get some more weed in there.
Well, Mike, I'm telling you is that's a fucking crazy approach. Like, I'm telling you, marijuana is decarboxylated at 200 and 250 for, in between 2 and 3 hours. That's the best way to fucking go about it. Mm-hmm. And if you heat your shit for too long, mm-hmm. you're going to convert your THC to CBD.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear you. My shit works good, dude. My shit works really good. When you come to Seattle, I'm going to give you some brownies, and you'll be like, your shit works good. Never mind.
I'm sure it does work good. I'm sure it works fantastic, but that's because you're putting a ton of extra weed in your brownies that you don't need to add. Mike, I think you're adding a ton of unnecessary cannabis to your batches. I think you can use, I see a lot of people using a lot less weed. 220 for 2 or 3 hours, bro. That's the way to go. Especially what I'm doing right now. I got it in a mason jar. I got some cannabis oil in a mason jar, sealed up. It's sealed.
Huh, cool.
So I'm not losing any potency.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm very excited to see how this is going to turn out.
I'm excited too. I can't wait to hear your report.
I can't wait to report to you how I'm doing.
Do you think you'll be reporting tomorrow, or you think it'll take you a couple days?
Oh, Mike, I don't know. I mean, it could just so happen that this batch is so potent that I just might conk the fuck out
for a couple days.
I'm gonna eat it when I'm gonna make a batch of brownies and then eat it when I come home. And who knows if it's good. If I don't call you tomorrow, then it was a good batch and I passed the fuck out. If I do call you, then I'll let you know how it went.
Well, I look forward to a report either way, Pete.
All right, Mike. Well, I look forward to reporting to you. I got to string this bitch in the cheesecloth. Everyone in the chat, suck my dick, and tell to give me a big boner. Woo!
See ya, Pete. So what is this about mock censoring? What is mock censoring? No, it's Donald Trump who's censoring. Donald Trump is censoring everyone. Donald Trump is saying, you can't say that. Donald Trump is saying, you don't have the... Oh, it's the anonymous guy again. Should I answer the anonymous guy? Okay, let's see what he says. Okay, what do you got for me, anonymous guy? What? You're not going to say anything now? Oh, hold on. Hello? Are you still there? Hello?
I am still here.
Okay, what do you got now?
Just that I wanted to see your titties, and that's what you're censoring.
I didn't censor you. How did I censor? I didn't censor anything. See, again, and I think this is really important. I've talked about censorship from day one. Okay, the censors are the real threat to humanity. The people who are saying, oh, we can't have Alex Jones. Alex Jones can't be on this platform because, somehow he's violating free speech. And Alex Jones is not a good example because Alex Jones acts like a crazy person. But there's so many other examples. It's just Alex Jones, had 1 million subscribers, and he's like, a lot of people, very high profile. When they all kicked him off, all conspired to kick Alex Jones off social media all at the same time. They all conspired to do that. That's a threat because they're acting like they can do that to whoever. We can say that this speech is unacceptable. Okay, that's what Donald Trump is saying now. And if Donald Trump can say it, then anyone else can say this speech is unacceptable. That speech is unacceptable. Next, what's he going to sign an executive order saying you can't call me Orange Man anymore? I mean, it's like, what does he think? Does he think he's President Xi from China, who has outlawed Winnie the Pooh T-shirts in China because some people say he looks like Winnie the Pooh? It's fucking insanity. Okay, whatever the fuck is wrong with Donald Trump, it has always been wrong with him, and people need to recognize now. Okay, there is nothing there to support. Not that the Democrats have put forth anything to support, because they won't let Tulsi move forward. They won't let Bernie move forward. Not that, again, Bernie is someone to be trusted. As we heard earlier in this show, Bernie has taken more money during this 2020 campaign race from the military-industrial complex than any other candidate, any other Democratic candidate. What are we stuck with, right? But Donald Trump is a problem. If he's going to act like he can say, what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say, that is the exact impeachable offense. That is the exact being a threat to the Constitution, being a threat to your free speech, being a threat to my free speech. And I just want everyone to recognize this, and I hope more than anything that tomorrow in college campuses, from one end of the country to the other, there is just protest after protest after protest, calling for support of the BDS movement. Because this is, I always like to say, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. When you push people to say, oh, you can't do that, they push back. So I really hope that tomorrow we're going to see a big old pushback, because there's nothing I would like to see more than a massive, countrywide, ocean to ocean support of the BDS movement on every college campus. That would be so spectacular. And you know what it would also be? It would also be spitting in Donald Trump's face. Okay, and I think no one at this moment in American history deserves more to be spit in their face at this moment than Donald Trump. Okay, so please, students across America, please, heed my call and go into the streets tomorrow with your signs. You have to mute your audio on your computer. Hello, caller.
I missed you so much, Mike. I had to call back.
Okay. That's better than show your tits.
Yeah, well, I was trying to show you my dick, but you didn't see it. Anyways, the reason I'm calling back, is because I'm learning some things about China, that how China kind of rules the internet, and I'm learning how they do this, and that Chinese suppression of information, or what do they call it? Censorship. Chinese censorship rules the internet because China has the most amount of internet usage, and if American corporations do things that China doesn't like, then they will censor those American corporations' internet advertisements. So it's not like China has its own separate business inside its country. There's lots of American and international corporations that do business with the population of China, right?
Yeah.
So, but the Chinese government doesn't want apparently not just Winnie the Pooh T-shirts, but they don't want anything having to do with homosexuality or revolutions or protests or things like that. Or even football players kneeling down at halftime or anything like that. They influence the NFL.
No dissent.
Yeah, they don't want to encourage any dissent whatsoever.
No dissent, yeah.
And so they don't allow their citizens to see that stuff. So if corporations, American corporations or British or French, from wherever, if they put out an advertisement or a product that China considers to be inappropriate or threatening in a way to its population's intellect or cowed down demeanor, if it's instigating dissent in any way or homosexuality or anything like that, then China just blocks that corporation, that advertisement or that product. And that's influencing all of the corporations because they have the biggest share of the market. There's more people online in China than the rest of the world, or maybe it's half and half, but they definitely have the biggest
No, South Park did an episode on this a few weeks ago where they wound up murdering Winnie the Pooh in their episode, and then at the end of the episode, they were like, "Fuck China," and I said "fuck China" like 5 times at the end of the episode, and it was pretty darn brave, considering how everybody kowtows down to China, but not just of South Park, but kind of Comedy Central to allow them to say that too, because that's the kind of thing that will get you blocked from a billion fucking internet users.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big IT guy, and I'm just becoming aware of the Chinese power over internet businesses and internet information. I knew they subjugated their people, but I didn't realize there was such a financial clout that they hold over American corporations and businesses or American cartoons. So, yeah, this is a brand new subject for me, and I really just became aware of it today. But you brought up the Winnie the Pooh thing, so I just thought I'd give you a second call and tell you I'm going to be paying attention to this issue. Apparently, there's a shitload of shit going on planet Earth I don't know about.
I think this is the problem. Is the media not doing its job, right? We're not supposed to be misinformed and ill-informed and half-ass informed, and they just and that's the reason people have no respect for them anymore, and a whole lot of other stuff. So anyways, I'm glad to hear that, Michael. I tie everything back to South Park. They're my boys, This is the Elphinstone. I'm gonna smoke some Elphinstone here because it's kind of Christmassy, right?
Wow, man. Are your ears going to get pointy?
No, but dang, that would be an awesome fucking effect if I could do that.
You got curly elfin boots on?
No, I'm barefoot.
You got.
I'm a gnome. I'm always barefoot.
Can you show me your elfin titties, Michael? Oh man.
I live in the forest. I'm a gnome.
Yeah, I know. You're a gnome. Okay, I don't want to insult you by calling you an elf. You're a gnome. But
Elves
yeah.
are cool, but gnomes are noble. So the protectors of the forest, you know. Anyway, so okay, thanks for calling again, Michael.
Okay, be well. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so Chris was calling too. I saw Chris, and I think there was someone else who was trying to call. When Michael called a second time, I thought the show last night went pretty good. You guys liked the show last night? Did you see that? I thought, oh, we got the anonymous guy. Here, listen. Let's see. Yes.
What do you mean you don't like hearing me call? I just want to see them titties.
Who said? Who said I didn't want to hear you call? What? I didn't say that. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mox. How are you doing tonight? It's Chris from Olympia.
Hey, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. What a crazy day. I really underestimated, or I didn't really take into consideration the impact of what the video that you had posted on the program last night, right before I called in. And I had a chance to look at it a second time and also follow up on some of the news stories about that incident in New Jersey. And that was very crazy in retrospect, you know, just looking at it.
Yeah, there was a lot of bullets that flew there, man.
And this whole question about what their motivation was and who they are and how that's being projected in the media. But my first impression was it was
and how convenient it is, and how convenient it is the day before Donald Trump signs his little anti-Semitism executive order.
Yeah, that these two people go on a rampage or whatever. There's an incident, and clearly. But my very first impression was that it was a mechanism to terrorize the people in that community. Because from looking at the photographs and reading the articles, it's a poor neighborhood, or it's not an affluent neighborhood in Jersey City, where Orthodox Jews have recently moved there from New York and are setting up businesses in this neighborhood. Now, from the interviews that I've read, you know, a lot of them say, and there's great relationships, you know, like everyone gets along with everyone, like that. But I'm a little suspicious about that, because usually in these, when gentrification occurs, it means that some people are going to be displaced, especially like in poor black neighborhoods in Jersey City.
Right.
So you create an incident, like there was an incident, and then you go in there with like armed military, armed police, and you have a shootout with all these kids locked down in schools and people peering out from windows in a war zone setting. To me, is just saying, we're going to bring this to your neighborhood. If you fuck with these wealthy people who just moved into the neighborhood, if you mess with the people who own the small shops, you can be damn well sure we'll be here in 5 minutes and we'll make your neighborhood a war zone.
The cops will.
Yes.
Yeah.
And looking at the pictures, like from the Daily Mail and from other newspapers, there's a photograph from their article called "Jersey City Gunmen Targeted Jewish Store," where they killed.
Hold on, Chris. Hey, Chris, hold on just a sec, okay?
Sure.
I have a clip from that. Let me see.
Yeah.
I believe it's clip 1. Hold on just a sec here. Let me get this right.
We begin tonight with the chilling new surveillance of what authorities are now calling a targeted and deadly attack just outside New York City. The mayor calling it a hate crime. Police are now looking closely at this surveillance video tonight. The two gunmen, a man and a woman, getting out of a van, crossing the street there, opening fire inside that kosher grocery store. 3 people were killed inside. A police detective had been killed right before. Police arriving quickly, and then SWAT teams. The firefight went on for hours. Bystanders running away from the danger, and tonight we are learning more here about the suspects. The pipe bomb that was found in a stolen U-Haul that day, and the anti-police, anti-Semitic writings online. ABC's Adrian Bankert leads us off from Jersey City.
Tonight, we have chilling surveillance video that captures the horror at that kosher market in New Jersey in what police say was a targeted attack. Both suspects slowly emerging from a stolen U-Haul van before one of them aims a high-powered rifle at the store and opens fire.
There were multiple other people on the street, so there were many other targets available to them that they bypassed to attack that place. So it was clearly that was their target, and they intended to harm people inside.
Police say the two gunned down the owner, Mindy Ferenz, a mother of 5, an employee, Douglas Rodriguez, and a customer, Moishe Deutsch.
A few hundred bullets went into a body of a 24-year-old child. How can we, as a community, as people, bear that?
One person in the market was injured but survived the hail of bullets that terrorized Jersey City for hours yesterday. The suspects killed in the gun battle identified tonight as 50-year-old Francine Graham and 47-year-old David Anderson. Sources tell ABC News that Anderson recently made anti-Semitic posts online. It all started when Detective Joe Seals, investigating the murder of an Uber driver, encountered the suspects at this cemetery. Police say they killed the officer, a father of 5, driving a mile to that Jewish market at just after noon. For more than 3 hours in a standoff with heavily armed officers.
It sounded like we were at war. That's what it sounded. It sounded like Desert Storm out here, like we were at war.
In the end, police ramming the store with an armored truck, the bodies of the suspects and the victims found inside. Authorities did recover a pipe bomb and religious writings from that stolen U-Haul. The suspects, believed to be members of the Black Israelites, considered by the FBI to be a domestic terror group known for anti-Jewish and anti-police views.
There is no question that this is a hate crime.
Police now pointing to the bravery of the officers who contained the violence, including 2 patrolmen first at the scene and wounded.
Yesterday could have been far deadlier, and the reason it was not is due to the heroism of the men and women of the Jersey City Police Department.
And Adrian Bankert back with us again tonight from outside that market. And Adrian, I know you're learning more about the suspects tonight.
Yeah, so one of those suspects, David Anderson, had a history of criminal offenses, including weapons charges. Now, we know that tonight 2 of those innocent victims will be laid to rest. They'll also hold a vigil for all of the victims at the cemetery where Detective Seals was murdered. Meanwhile, the kosher market behind us here, the scene of those merciless killings, boarded up. David?
Adrian Bankert leading us off tonight. Adrian, thank you. And
our audio is live now.
Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to play that clip for you guys because Chris was talking about that, and I played a similar clip last night about that, and I talked about this at the beginning of the show when we first went live tonight. Is that this clip? It's really odd to me the way they keep emphasizing how these people had anti-police writings that they were, on their, I don't know, social media or whatever. But because this is again, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, when you see the over-intrusive police state and you don't have anti-police sentiments, it's you're not one of the land of the free. You know what I mean? Or you should, anyways. Go ahead, Chris.
No, remember the Move people in Philadelphia, and I believe it was like 1985. They had an entire block in Philadelphia was firebombed from helicopters.
From helicopters, right?
They dropped bombs out of helicopters onto incendiary devices to set the building on fire.
Yeah.
To kill activists who had barricaded themselves, who were black, inside of their house.
Right.
Just like these victims were African American.
They did that. Do you guys remember who Chris Dorner is? Chris Dorner was a police officer in Southern California who killed a number of people after he tried to be like a whistleblower or something, and the cops fucking went psycho on his ass, and then he killed a couple people who was like police related, and the cops, there was like this massive manhunt for Chris Dorner. It went on for days and days, and then they found him in this cabin like in the mountains, and they pumped the cabin full of fucking tear gas, but they have different types of tear gas, and this one kind that they use is very flammable, and they fucking pumped the place full of this tear gas and then fucking lit it on fire, and the place went up like a fucking torch, and there was no, and Chris Dorner never got to tell his story.
And Leonard Peltier's story doesn't receive very much attention either. Mumia Abu Jamal is from Philadelphia and was friends with these people who were bombed by the Philadelphia Police Department. And the Philadelphia Police Department at that time, or the mayor, his name was Frank Rizzo, and he was a racist man. I mean, just overtly racist. So it wasn't unintentional that they went to such extreme measures to let these people know that they cannot have a community center in their house. They cannot help people in their community and provide services to people in their community, like a community center, and that will not be tolerated in that Philadelphia neighborhood. And those people today are still in prison for life, like for the rest of their lives. They've been in prison for, 15 and 20, 35 years for those crimes that they committed on that day when the police attacked their house and killed like 10 people.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. I've seen that piece of history talked about a few times, and it seems like that it's one of those horrible marks on American history.
Juan Gonzalez, the guy on Democracy Now, the co-host
I
of
know who it
Democracy
is.
Now.
Yeah.
He was a youth activist. He was involved in activism when he was a teenager, but he was a reporter for one of the Philadelphia papers and was on the scene there, and actually was on the street and saw that building burn with those people in it. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting how a lot of the reporters and the activists are all interconnected in this struggle that's been occurring for, since forever.
Well, the journalists are definitely interconnected in the struggle. They're interconnected with the government, and they seem to. Again, yesterday we were talking about, or I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, we were talking about how the journalists vilify the protesters, which makes it journalists and politicians vilify protesters, basically labeling them vandals and criminals, or as we remember in Occupy, public fornicators and public defecators and drug addicts,
filthy hippies,
and the fucking and the Obama administration labeled them potential terrorists, and this is what happens, I forgot. Go ahead, Chris.
You were talking about journalism.
Yeah, the journalists. I mean, they're very directly responsible for the police state that we're in. They're supposed to be protecting us and investigating things. That's why they have so much freedom, is so that they can get to the bottom of things, and they don't investigate anything anymore. They just fucking read the talking memos that come out of the White House and out of the Pentagon daily. Or out of the Democrat side or the Republican side. Is fucking bullshit. There's no investigative shit.
You hit it on the head. You had it on the head earlier tonight when you were talking about money and about how much money the military-industrial complex wastes and how much money we devote to just killing people all around. I mean, it isn't like this equipment that we're making doesn't have a purpose, right? All of the money we're spending on the military-industrial complex is actually designed to kill people.
Right.
When we spend $10 billion or $5 billion for a new aircraft carrier, that tool is designed specifically to kill people in certain situations, which is kind of weird, right? Because there was this article at The Intercept I found this morning from Alex Emmons, and the article says Congress is to vote on a $22 billion defense increase, $22 billion, 1 week after Donald Trump slashed food stamps, right? So 700,000 people got kicked off of the food stamp rolls on like work eligibility requirements and on different lines. But clearly, if somebody's on food stamps, Mike, I think they're probably poor, right? Those were the people who lost social benefits last week. But this week, Congress, that's Democrats and Republicans, both, are willing to vote for $22 billion defense increase, which would have paid for those 700,000 people's food benefits for like 7 or 8 years. And they spent that in an afternoon for war.
They're horrible. They don't represent any one of us. You know, none of us want war anymore. We're tired of it. You know, unless of course your son died in Iraq or something, and then you have to like justify that it wasn't a waste of time, that it wasn't a waste of your son's life. So we got to stay at war forever. It is a waste of time. It is a waste of all of our resources. And it was a waste of your son's life, and we need.
And you know who knew that is the Gold Star mom, right? Remember her, the activist Cindy Sheehan.
Oh yeah, I know Cindy.
Remember her? Her son died right in Iraq.
Yeah,
and she went to Bush's ranch and made a huge deal about like how her son died for a war that was not justified.
Cindy spoke out. Cindy spoke out loud. She got on a lot of TV shows and she camped out in front of Bush's house for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Until Obama got elected, and then as soon as Obama got elected, Cindy Sheehan had a radio program called Soapbox, where she would have guests like Daniel Ellsberg and Ralph Nader and other kind of whatever progressives on her program, and the reason she had to go to Soapbox, like a YouTube format, is because she wasn't being invited on more mainstream venues, and even traditional magazines like The Nation magazine, Mother Jones. She got shut out from all those venues as soon as Obama became president, and she started talking about Democratic complicity in war in the Middle East. They shut her out.
She said the last interview I posted of her was, and I post any interview I could ever get of her, was her saying that Obama's just as bad as George W. Bush. You know?
And as soon as she made that note, she was cut off. Yep. No more media time for Cindy Sheehan because she was speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And that's typically how it works. So when I heard about this food thing and then I read that article at The Intercept, I did a little research and I found out from 2017, March 23rd, 2017, there was an explanation of a United States vote in an international organization, which is the United Nations. And the vote was about the right to food. So there's in the Declaration of the Rights of the International Declaration of Rights after World War II, the right to have food is right there in the language. It says people on Earth should have the right to have food. But in 2017, the Trump administration wrote this memo that says an explanation of our vote to the Human Rights 34th session on March 2017, and it's the explanation of the vote on the right to food. And it's kind of weird, but it'll be self-explanatory. Just bear with me. This is what it says. This is the Trump administration. America, we also underscore our disagreement with other inaccurate and imbalanced language in this text. We regret that this resolution contains no reference to the importance of agricultural innovations which bring wide-ranging benefits to farmers, consumers, and innovators. Strong protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights, including the international rules-based intellectual property system, provide critical incentives needed to generate the innovation that is crucial to understanding the development challenges of today and tomorrow. In our view, this resolution also draws inaccurate linkage between climate change and human rights related to food. Furthermore, we reiterate that states are responsible for implementing their human rights obligations. This is true of all obligations that a state has assumed, regardless of external factors, including, for example, the availability of technical and other assistance. We also do not accept any reading of this resolution or related documents that would suggest that states have, this is important, particular extraterritorial obligations arising from any concept of a right to food. Wow. Lastly, we wish to clarify our understanding with respect to certain language in the resolution. The United States supports the right of everyone to an adequate standard of living, including food, as recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Domestically, the United States pursues this policy to promote access to food. And it is our objective to achieve a world where everyone has adequate access to food, but we do not treat the right to food as an enforceable obligation. The United States does not recognize any change in the current state of conventional or customary international law regarding food. The United States is not a party to the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Accordingly, we interpret the resolution's references to the right to food with respect to states parties to that covenant in light of Article 2.1, of which we're not party. We also construe this resolution's reference to member states' obligations regarding the right to food as applicable to the extent to which they have assumed obligations, not us. Now, that I found to be really telling, Mox, because it just explicitly says to the world, the United States does not believe it's our responsibility to feed everybody in the world. It's your responsibility, not ours.
It's everyone's responsibility. That's why there is a United Nations, because it has to be. Everything's become too interconnected. Okay, so and here's the deal: if you make your neighborhood a nicer place by helping the people that are at the bottom, by lifting them up, right? If you make it a better place by doing that, then that's where you live. You now live in a better place. So why the hell wouldn't you want to make it a better place? It's that simple.
Well, that comes to the next point, which is the Time Magazine's Person of the Year, Mike. And you know it's Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg was chosen yesterday or today as Time Magazine's Person of the Year. And this is an excerpt from Time Magazine, and it's shorter than that. It goes really fast. Thunberg is not a leader of any political party or advocacy group. She's not the first to sound the alarm for climate crisis, nor the most qualified to fix it. She's not a scientist or politician, has no access to any levers of influence. She's not a billionaire or a princess, a pop star, or even an adult. She's an ordinary teenage girl, who, in summoning the courage to speak truth to power, became the icon of a generation by clarifying an abstract danger with piercing outrage. Thunberg became the most compelling voice on the most important issue facing the planet. Along the way, she emerged as a standard bearer in a generational battle, an avatar, all these buzzwords, right, of youth activists across the globe fighting for everything from gun control to democratic representation. Her global climate strike is the largest and most international of all of the youth movements, but it's hardly the only one. And this is where they just lie. Teenagers in the U.S. are organizing against gun violence and flocking to progressive candidates. Students in Hong Kong, now that's a CIA coup, right? Students in Hong Kong are battling for democratic representation. And young people from South America to Europe are agitating for remaking the global economy. They're not revolting, no. Thunberg is not aligned with these desperate protests, but her insistent presence has come to represent the fury of youth worldwide. And I'll stop there. But those two paragraphs explain why Greta Thunberg and why the School Strike Fridays have been promoted by the mainstream media. Because the real protests in this world are occurring by people who are starving to death, or who know that their kids aren't going to go to anywhere. They're not going to go to college. They're not going to have any education. They're going to be left chained in poverty in the third world, in Chile, in Ecuador, in Haiti, and they are in the streets demanding change. That is a far cry from voluntarily taking a week off of school, getting on a sailboat and crossing the Atlantic Ocean for leisure, and then giving speeches to wealthy plutocrats about how dare they. There's a huge difference between the two. But it's easy for the media to conflate these two ideas. Protest. See? Greta's the real leader of the youth in the world, not the demonstrators in Colombia, in Bogota.
I hope she writes a book that's like a giant seller that's titled like "I Hate You All" or something like that.
It'll be like, "Daddy, why did you?" And then it'll be like this complete resentment of her parents. And the other reason why that story was bullshit is because it implies that she's an ordinary teenager. That's the exact language that Time magazine used in the article. In fact, there is nothing ordinary about Greta Thunberg at all. She comes from an upper middle class family in a very wealthy nation that is pretty much the same. Like, in other words, most people in Scandinavia, I mean, they have immigrants, but it's like 90-some% white. All right, it's culturally homogenous. So, I mean, there's all of these things about Greta Thunberg. Her sister is a pop star. Her mother is an opera star. Her dad is an organizer, and her organization is funded by very wealthy people who are going to profit off of the transition to a new electric economy. So all of those things taken into consideration, there is nothing ordinary about Greta Thunberg.
No, she seems like she just I don't know. She seems like a nice girl. I hope that she looks like she's angry, and I don't know. She seems like a nice girl. It's obvious she's just being used, So
it's obvious that, and the Onion picked up on that, by the way, and the Onion said, and they did a weird take on it, like, how do we respond to teenage girls? It's kind of the Onion's take on it, and they said this. Critics in the 2030s, so they take the spin of, like, imagine if Greta lived in 2030. Critics in the 2030s ask why teen climate activist is not in abandoned school, bailing water and shooting enemy foragers. In response to the attention she was receiving for her vocal objections to international leaders' refusal to address global warming, critics in the 2030s asked why teen climate activist Elise Garcia-Riley was not in an abandoned school, bailing water and shooting enemy foragers. Quote, instead of constantly screeching about how all our policies are selling out her generation and dooming them to unavoidable suffering, maybe this little hussy ought to spend more time in the remains of what was once a high school, choosing which infants to save and defending her family's food cache from scavengers, said television pundit Caden Williams of the 16-year-old climate activist, voicing the sentiments of critics who declared that she had no clue what she was talking about and was trying to catastrophize being constantly starving and up to her waist in water. All these teenagers getting riled up about climate change need to settle down and stay home to help the rest of their wandering band butcher enough giant cockroach meat to feed everyone. We are absolutely sick and tired of this entitled girl constantly lecturing us about how it's our fault that 80% of the animal species are dead and the oceans are scalding to the touch, and that if we don't act now, we'll doom her generation to eating each other just to stay alive. Elisa belongs in the bombed-out remains of the last defensible facility in her community, searching for some sort of textbook she can throw at intruders. Critics of the teenage climate activist added that they were not surprised in the least when she rejected an invitation to be honored at the Time 100 2034 gala, since she was clearly a huge bitch. That was in the South Park vein, I'd say there.
Well, those guys, that's very, it's very kind of
Cynical?
well, yeah, it's very kind of dark, but yeah, they there's I don't know what the future holds, but I think that it's really important that we try and what I keep saying. We have to move beyond this. We have to see the real enemies, right? And like today, Donald Trump made clear he is the real enemy. Because again and again and again, people on this channel, people who call this show, say it's not so much that they're defending Donald Trump as they're like, man, the Democrats are so full of it. And now Donald Trump comes out and he does this, where he signs this anti-BDS thing where you have to, by executive order, it's now, BDS is a hate crime. So, that is an impeachable offense. And for whatever reason, we know what reason, we're never going to hear it like that.
Half the people didn't even vote, Mike. Like, I think, what was it, only 130 million people voted? 65 and 65, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Something like about 120 million people didn't even vote. And like you said, a lot of the people who were Sanders supporters just chose not to go to the polls.
Well, it's more than choosing not to go. Okay, it's that I can't sell out my integrity to pull a handle for Hillary Clinton, and I can't sell my integrity to pull a handle for Donald Trump. I can't.
Exactly.
I can't personally do that.
You could pull the handle for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein as a protest
which
vote.
I recommended people do.
And that's what I've done the last couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it isn't. In other words, if the 125 million people who have chosen not to participate because the R and the D party do not represent their interest, right? Mm-hmm. If they had chosen to vote for the Libertarians or the Greens, for example, or I would say one of the 2 or 3 socialist parties, some other party, those other parties could have gained, tens of millions of votes from people who just didn't vote. But unfortunately, the way the lesser of two evil voting is set up is the duopoly controls access to the ballot box. So Democrats make sure that third parties can't enter in states like Washington or in California or New York, and Republicans make sure that libertarians have a hard time in places like, Texas or Florida or Georgia, places like North Carolina, places like that. So the party makes sure there's a lockdown from the left or the right in terms of access to the ballot box. It's corrupt on both sides of the aisle.
That's true. That's my main message. If nothing else, that's my real message. It's a good one.
Yeah. And there's a book, and I might have referenced it before. I got it in my hand right now, but there's also, Google has about 110 pages of it online. And it is written by a socialist, but the book is called The Democrats, A Critical History, and the author is Lance Selfa. And it's not a very long book. It's less than 300 pages, but it's about 15 chapters, and it just goes chapter by chapter through the history of the Democratic Party from like 1832 all the way up until like 2018. And in that process, it talks about how they've always been a party of the rich. They were originally the party of slavery, right? That they were the ones who were the party of the South. Andrew Jackson, right? He's the one. He's the guy. And they remained Democrats because they hated Republicans because Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. So they refused to, even go over to the Republican side until Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
In 1972.
Yeah. No.
And then Reagan sealed the deal in 1980. So Nixon opened the door and Reagan let them in, and they've been in ever since. In other words, what I mean by that is that the people in the South who have conservative social and economic values were Democrats, but now they're Republicans.
Yeah, no, the
Yeah.
social conservatives are fucking horrible, man. You know what? Do you want other people imposing their values on you? So why the fuck do you think you should be imposing your values on other people? Fuck you. Piss off. This is the land of the free. Figure it out.
I grew up in Rockford, Illinois. And
I'm sorry.
My congressman, well, it is. It's one of the worst cities in America to live in. But, and when I lived there as a teenager in 1980, the unemployment rate was 25%, 20 to 25%. And that was because a lot of small tool and die industrial shops that were set up by mostly Swedes who had immigrated there 50, 75 years earlier, all those jobs were exported, so the whole city just went under. But my congressman in 1980 was John B. Anderson, and he ran for president as an independent. And he might have been, a lot of people credit, just like they blame Ralph Nader, I think John Anderson received 8% of the vote, or 7% of the vote, which was almost the exact amount that Jimmy Carter had lost by.
Huh.
Anyway, what John Anderson ran on was a 50-cent tax on gasoline, and he might have run on gun control. That might have been part of it. But he ran as he ran as an economic conservative, but as a social liberal. And I guess you would call those people Rockefeller Republicans. Not really, because I guess the drug laws were were Nelson Rockefeller, but there were generally these people who were like, today, John B. Anderson,
no, that's
got 8%.
That's like a real conservative, you know, someone who wants small government, basically.
Basically, except for a few things, like he thought that a tax on gas, like just a straight up 50-cent tax on gas, would be the fastest way to develop like conservation in 1980. But
well, that's awesome. I think that's an awesome idea because that's what they're trying to do now in Paris, right? They want to add a 50-cent tax to gas to try and get people to conserve fucking gas.
Yeah. The only problem I have with the gas tax, and here where we live in Washington State, it's also it's a regressive tax because poor people have to use cars.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. I mean, because everything uses gasoline. So if there's this big tax on gas, then you're actually taxing food and you're taxing every other item that you have to have.
Yeah.
Because it gets delivered by petrol.
That's what was happening in Ecuador. They increased the price of fuel by 50%. That was what it was.
Yeah.
And then the people who live in the towns outside of the major cities had to pay a tax on all of their services and goods because of the cost of fuel. And and that's why they went in the streets. And that's what will cause Americans to go in the streets inevitably, is if it gets to a point where the working class can't even sustain itself, you know, they're taking casualties greater than they are today.
Yeah.
Then you'll see them in the streets. And I pray for that day, because I believe that might be the impetus, the beginning to change. And that's the only thing that's going to do it, because it isn't happening through electoral politics right now.
Yeah, it's so sad. I hear you. I like seeing the people in the streets too. Although it's sad that they have to go out into the streets to get a decent fucking world.
Although I admit I have a hard time getting motivated to go out. The last time I went out in the streets was in 2013, and it was to protest against the proposed Syrian bombing that Obama was proposing in Syria. And I went to the place where people normally go in my community to demonstrate, and there was a small crowd. You know, there were probably less than 50 people there. And I realized that the reason there weren't a lot of people there is because there was a Democratic president, and I live in a progressive, liberal, Democratic city, and they just were not going to even say anything about their president, not a word.
The anti-war movement just died with Obama, dude.
And after that experience, and then I went to another like teach-in about a year and a half ago and had a horrible experience. Again, it was about Syria. It was exactly about Syria, the same fucking thing. So I realized that I don't have solidarity with people, and what they're using protesting for is to bring people into the big tent of the Democrat Party. So you have like a demonstration, like say an anti-poverty demonstration or an anti-war demonstration, but then when you get the people there, you start saying, well, you know, there's this candidate, and he's good on this one thing, you know, and that one thing might be Israel, or the one thing might be economic rights or something. And you're like, yeah, well, you can vote for him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but he's a Democrat. But he's a Democrat. But you really care, man. Don't you really care about this one issue?
Yeah.
So they use it as bait, like to draw people in.
Exactly. Well, that's what I keep saying. Is that's what the whole abortion thing is with the Republicans. They don't give a fuck about abortions, but they know that they get all this fucking that is guaranteed fucking voters.
The pussy hat demonstrations of the China event. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was like right after Trump. That's what it's denigrated. That's what it's gotten to. I mean, I had sympathy with Black Lives Matter when it, like the Ferguson demonstrations against police brutality, and that's how I defined it, demonstrations against police brutality. But as soon as that happened, immediately it started just drifting into the identity politics and neglecting the important argument, hey, well, let's talk about how the cops treat everybody, whether they're poor and white and live in Montana or South Dakota, or whether they live in an urban center and they're black. It doesn't matter. You know, police brutality is police brutality.
Well, I think that's kind of what the Occupy protest morphed into. Also, was it became a giant protest against the police state.
When the police started not allowing them to demonstrate, it really forged their point. Made it stronger.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I'll let you get back to your calls. Thank you for taking my call, and I'm glad I didn't call right after that guy tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. It's always better when you're here.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and that's our buddy from Olympia, Chris. He's always full of information. And hey, Craig, do you have voicemails you want to play? Yeah. What do we have to do that? How long is it? One voicemail? And it's just one voicemail? No. Okay, so Craig wants to play voicemails. He's been working on voicemails. One of them is from, I think, one of the guys who called the other night. And another one is from one of the trolls who calls. And another one is from a lady in, I think she said South Carolina. Let's listen to some voicemails for a minute, okay? Does that sound like fun? All right, hold on. Here we go.
Hey, Michael, this is Tony Lamont. I talked to you earlier tonight. I think we got off on a bad foot, but I realized there's worse people out there streaming than you, and you're just a good guy doing good shit on Mixer, man. Keep up the good, or on Twitch, I'm sorry, Momox News, man. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope you get this message. And again, I'm Tony Lamont. You'll remember me, man. We had a good conversation. I think you went a little crazy on you with the propane tank. But anyway, it was good fucking news. And I'm just calling back to say, hey, I hope you have a blessed night and have a good day tomorrow. All right? Thank you.
Yes, my name's Gloria Harward. I am from Norwood, North Carolina. And my message is this, that Nancy Pelosi says no one in America is above the law. Well, why are the Democrats above it? Why is she doing all this stuff that she shouldn't be doing? Why do they want to make us look bad to other countries when the Democrats are who are evil and bad?
This is Ken Smith. No relation to Will Smith. I am not a man in black. Just wanted to call and say I would call your show more often, but you kind of talk over everybody a little bit. And also wanted to say that Hillary didn't win by 90%, and the Republican Party didn't collapse, the economy didn't collapse, so there is such a thing as fake news. I don't just call it fake news because Donald Trump does. I am a Trump supporter, so you think I'm an idiot. and you seem to like you got to beg for a lot of money on what you're doing. Feel kind of bad for you for that one. I used to sell steaks. I wasn't very good at it. I tried to do it until I didn't even have enough money to buy more shoe goo. So you know what I did? I tried something else. That's all I got for you. It's life advice. It's out of love, even though it sounds a little sarcastic. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Let's see. If I were president of the United States, I would immediately order a special counsel to investigate foreign influence in our elections as far as collusion with the Clinton campaign. And I would also immediately be pushing that special counsel to get a hold of that DNC server, because I just think it's so crazy that if they have a smoking gun that is the DNC server that would prove that the Russians hacked it and all that crap, that they would be running to the FBI with it, saying, here, publish it, show, prove it, this is our proof. But I think that they're lying. I don't think that the DNC server will show that. I think it's an inside job. So, yeah, that's going to be my first order of business, appoint a special counsel to look into election interference between Clinton and Russia and whoever.
Yes, hello. This is Jeremy from your local Domino's. Just confirming your order for a large Dick Lovers pizza. You ordered that shit about 2 minutes ago, and I'm here at your house, bro. So if you want to answer the door, or else I'm gonna eat it. But all right, man. Just making sure you just confirm your order for a large Dick Lovers pizza. You fucking faggot. This is Jeremy Dick Lovers. This is Jeremy Dick Lovers. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it.
Don't eat the babies. Don't eat the babies. Okay, so again, as I was saying earlier, Santa is going to be on South Park tonight, so you want to be sure and tune in for that. You guys want to hear this troll? Okay, here's the troll. Here's the troll. What's up? What's up, caller?
Bro, that pizza sounded good.
Hello, caller.
What's going on?
We are doing this live call-in show that we do every Monday through Friday. What's going on with you?
Oh, I'm just calling you up.
Right
I called
on.
you once before. I'm up here in the cold state of Maine.
Oh, I love Maine. I always want to go to Maine.
Yeah.
Hey, so they legalized marijuana in Maine, right?
Yeah.
Is there stores open there?
Yeah.
Right on. Do you get a chance to take advantage of those stores?
No, because I work for a DOT regulated company, so I get drug tested.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Hey, I told you this before. I love your show. You know, you're doing a good job. And there's people calling in. I mean, I like your listeners and everything, but man, everybody's going to stop watching TV. It just scares me how much they friggin' watch TV and they get mad. I mean, how many times do we vote for somebody and then just get mad afterwards and go, oh, they're not doing what they said? You know what I mean? Every friggin' one.
Yeah, I think the politics on TV is just horrible, man. I think that
Well, everything on TV is. You know, it's like we're talking about like Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is.
yeah.
First thing it should, if you watch TV, which I don't, if you watch TV, the first thing you should come to your mind is, okay, what did this person do to get on TV? You know, because you and I are not going to be on TV voicing our opinions ever. They wouldn't let us on there, you know?
Well, I not on any kind of mainstream thing for sure.
No, that's what's scary. So much of the country's watching this mainstream stuff. If you think about it, every president is just like the dog on the leash. You think about it, they go in one direction or another a little bit, but they keep heading the same general direction as the last one, right?
It seems
There's not
like
much that separates them.
No, it seems like that's very true.
Yeah, so I mean, we keep thinking
the who put it, you know, say hello to the new boss, same as the old boss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, there's a bigger problem. It's not who gets elected. You know what I mean? We got to vote, but we got to stop doing this left and right thing, because if you notice, people are so, it's like sports. Do you ever wonder, like, if someone's rooting for the Seahawks, right? They love the Seahawks. What if you took all those same players and put them on the Patriots? Would they start rooting for the Patriots? No, they'll still root for the Seahawks. You know what I mean? So we're trained to just go with one thing. You know, so that one thing, those people could screw us all they wanted, and people would still be behind it. You know?
Yeah, no,
our own friggin' worst enemy.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've had people tell me, you know, my dad was a Republican and his dad was a Republican before him, and the thing is, and you're right, and we were talking about this the other day, and I was saying that we should just ban all political parties. Right, and then it would, and then on election day, it would just be Americans voting, not Democrats voting and Republicans voting and separated into it'd just be Americans voting. Doesn't that sound really patriotic?
Yeah, you wouldn't have basically two piles of crap. You can choose from the one that really stinks or the one that really looks bad. You know, which one do you want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're getting.
No, it's absolutely right. I mean, the way I always define it is either giant douche or turd sandwich. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take this for example. This is how I gauge America. Look around. Okay, have you ever got up like really early in the morning and watch infomercials and see what the hell they're selling? You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes I stay up really late and watch.
Okay, so it's either religious promises, or like a diet plan. Okay. So, and then you walk around America and look around, and all you see is fat people doing stupid stuff, but they're buying the shit that's on TV, so we're all stupid, driving ourselves insane, you know?
You know, the thing is, I don't think we're driving ourselves insane so much as I think that there's a program, a plan to drive us insane. Have you seen the movie, with Kingsman with Samuel Jackson?
No, I don't watch TV or movies because I think it's all dangerous.
But it's all about a plan to drive people insane with cell phones.
Well,
and it's very.
I can go with that, but also what adds to it is if you think you're going to vote for a certain person, if they've made it to the level where they get on the ballot, okay, you're already screwed by that person.
Right, right. That's how, So, that's what I'm saying. When they get up to this level where it's going to be like these are the people that you're going to have the chance to vote for, it's always going to be turd sandwich or fucking giant douche. You know, and it's because they're the only kind of people that are, you know, acceptable to the powers that be. Pass the test, as you said. Pass the test. Yeah. What's your name?
Dan.
Hey, Dan. It's good to hear from you.
I called you once before. Yeah, I called you once before. Good to talk to you. And you said, "Oh, darn, I forgot to ask him his name." I hear it's pretty cold on the East Coast right now. What is it like in Maine? That isn't too bad.
Not too bad.
It's 27 degrees.
No, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
No, it's gotten down into the single digits, down around 0, you know, a few times, but yeah, it's winter.
Right on. Well, so as anything else you want to talk about, Dan? I mean, what do you think about this Donald Trump executive order thing saying that you can't talk about Israel?
Well,
go ahead.
That's not right. You know what I mean? That's one of my things that, you know, because it humors me to hear politicians talk about, I'm here to uphold the Constitution.
Right.
Oh, really? That's a lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I do believe that the Constitution is the law of the land. But isn't it funny how they can just make laws against your free speech. And look how bad the Second Amendment's been crapped on. Oh, that's okay. You know, and the Supreme Court won't even take any cases on it. It's like, that's like the shortest part of the Constitution, the Second Amendment. It's so clear, it's crazy. But yet, they can just crap all over that, you know?
Yeah, and the Fourth Amendment too, like searches and seizures.
Oh, the Fourth for sure. Yeah.
No,
yeah. Oh, that's fine. If a cop pulls you over and wants to rip you out of your car, good luck with that. They did that to my dad when he was like 70. You know?
Oh man.
Pulled him out of his car.
Yeah.
And bruised him all up. He wasn't even doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was like 70-something years old.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you know why they do that? You know why they do that? Because they can.
No, I know. And the lawyer, said, look, your civil rights have been violated. You've got a case. But I'll be honest with you, you're never going to get any money out of it, you know?
Yeah, no,
I had a cop pull me over once. Listen to this. I had a cop pull me over once. And I said, I put the window down. He goes, where are you going? And I'm like, what? He said, where are you going? I said, none of your business.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You can't talk to me like that. I'm like, what did you pull me over for? He said, no, I asked you where you're going. I'm like, dude, I said, do what you want, but I'm all done talking to you, okay? And he looked at me like, how dare you?
Yeah.
And he stomped off, and he came back, and he said, you were driving in the wrong lane, because it was a 3-lane highway.
Huh.
I can tell you, I pulled over in the middle lane because he had somebody pulled over, and I didn't want to stay in the right lane. That would be rude and dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
And what do I get for it? I get pulled over, and the first question out of his mouth is, where are you going? And he's like interrogating, what are you at somebody's house? I'm going,
yeah.
I told you I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just bullshit.
Yeah. And that's that search and seizure thing where they think that, and it's not just, people that pull you over, cops in your phone. They're searching your phones right now as we speak. I mean, the whole government is they have zero respect for you or your rights, and the police don't care either. And they're the ones that are supposed to be there protecting us and protecting our rights. And this is what we've talked about again and again, how the pillars of the community, the people who are supposed to be who we can turn to when there's no one else, the police, the medical community, the politicians, these are the people that we're supposed to be able to trust. And the medical community tells us for fucking generations there's no medicinal quality to marijuana, so they have zero credibility. The police.
Yeah, they want to push all these friggin' antidepressants. They got both of my kids hooked on these things, and I said, what are you doing on those pills? Well, I've been kind of sad. I'm like, it's going to take at least 100 years to figure out what that does to people. It's going to take 2 or 3 generations of people to figure out what that does.
Yeah.
But yet, you're not supposed to use marijuana, but you can take this chemical that nobody even knows what the frig it is.
Yeah.
That's
really, really dangerous.
Who's making the money?
That's really, really dangerous for you to stop taking once you start taking it.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, I know all about it.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's messed up. I know they tried to put Craig's kid on medication. I'm like, fucking stop, And I mean, I remember one of my friends came to me with her 6-year-old daughter, right? And her 6-year-old daughter, she would caw at people like a crow. Like when they'd ask her questions, she'd be like, caw, 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 and she's like, do you think we need to medicate her? I'm like, no, she thinks the rest of you need to be medicated, because people are all fucking crazy.
No, yeah, they are. But think about this, everybody's think about if a big storm comes, everybody goes and buys gas and buys food and all this shit. What if something really bad happens and nobody can get their friggin' antidepressants? Can you imagine what's going to happen in this country? It will be the zombie apocalypse, because people will go off the deep end if they got to quit that stuff cold turkey.
Yeah.
No,
I agree that I've said that again and again that healthcare is a matter of national security, and it's because of reasons exactly like that.
Yeah. That's freaked up, man. You know, they probably think like that Joseph Mengele, you know who that was? He was like one of the really bad Nazis who thought up all the experiments to do on the Jewish people. They probably idolize that guy. You know, oh, we could use him today. You know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I really think that they look at us as less than some like ants. And they.
Oh, definitely.
I think the powers that be, the police, the politicians, they don't have much more respect for us than they do ants. I really don't think.
Well, just don't forget though. Don't forget though. Like say you're like you and I. You know, we're worried about certain things like where's my money going to come from for this bill, that bill, my next meal, my food. All those people haven't worried about that for 3, 4, 5, 6 generations as long as they know.
Right.
So their mind is geared. It's wired totally different. You know what I mean? They're thinking more about controlling people and controlling everything. Because they don't worry about where's this coming from, where's that. I hope I can get this vehicle.
How am I gonna afford shoes for my children? You know?
Yeah, no, there's none of that. You know, that isn't even. They wouldn't even understand that concept.
No, they don't. They don't get that. They don't get that people have those issues, and they don't care. They don't want to.
But that's not. But my point is, their mind is working on different things.
Right.
It's about once they know their needs are satisfied, they're no longer worried about going hungry. They're focused on control.
Right.
At that point,
they're focused on
control more people.
What else can I get? What else can I get? What else can I get?
Exactly. Look at this. There's like these billionaires that go around just buying shit to bankrupt it, and somehow they profit on it, but it's hurting everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those people don't think about anything but themselves. You know. I don't know, man. But keep up the good fight.
Hey, Dan, it's really good to hear from you. I'm glad you called back.
Yeah, I will. You come to Maine, you give me a call. Keep my number.
Okay, you got it.
All right, take care.
Stay cool. Bye. All right, so that was cool. I'm glad we got to hear from Dan. And again, as I was saying, Santa is on South Park tonight. Okay, and this is really important. See, that works every time to get the phone. Okay, here's the troll guy. Hello, caller.
Hey, are you like the weed Santa Claus where you just drop people weed?
Actually, I do. I was thinking, man, I got to go bake some brownies because I haven't given the neighbors. I was wondering if I could give them, like I made peanut butter cookies yesterday for the dogs. And I was wondering if I could give them doggy cookies. Shh, don't tell anyone, because they don't have that much. They don't have that much butter in them, and I worry about giving them too strong. If I give them my brownies, they'll eat a whole brownie. I'll say like cut them in half, and then cut them in half again, and then take that quarter, and then cut it in half, and then share that. And they'll take my brownies and go, whatever, fuck. And then they'll be like, what did he do to us? So again, as I was saying, Santa is on South Park tonight, okay? And the last time Santa was on South Park was when there was a strike at Amazon, and nobody could get their packages. So it was like everybody was like, "Oh no, Christmas is ruined," right? And they're all sad. And all of a sudden, somebody goes, "What's that up in the sky?" And it's all of a sudden Santa flies down in his sleigh. It's like, "Santa, yay!" And Santa's like, "Oh, don't worry, my good friend. So I'm here to save the day." And he says, "And where's my favorite Christmas poo, Mr. Hanky?" And he said, Mr. Hanky had to go away. Mr. Hanky said some bad things, and we had to make him go away forever. And Santa was like, he said some bad things. No, he said, we had to tell Mr. Hanky to go away. And Santa looks at him and goes, what did he do? Fuck a bunch of children? And they said, no, he said some bad things and we had to make him go away forever. And Santa says, he said some bad things. He said some bad things. And he gets back in his sleigh and he says, have fun sucking Jeff Bezos' dick, you bunch of cucks. And I love that. I fucking love that. So, because they censored Mr. Hanky and they banished him, and it was sad. Even though I didn't like Mr. Hanky. Hello, caller.
Hello, Michael.
Hello. It's good to hear from you. Who is this?
Hey, Michael. It's Matt from fucking Wichita.
Hey, Matt.
Use my language.
How is fucking Wichita tonight, Matt?
Wichita, Kansas.
And how is Wichita tonight?
Man, it's great.
Right on. That is really good to hear.
And, honestly, I was thinking that it was great before anybody wore a hat that said something about it needing to be great or something like that. I've always thought it was great. And, I wish I could even have one of those hats, kind of, a little bit, just because I just feel like it's a little positive. But I really just want to tell you something tonight that I feel like is legitimately something serious, and I have utilized your platform for years, not having to watch every single channel to be able to pick up on every single aspect of news that is just a waste of your time. And this guy, Mox News, he is out there in the world allowing us to watch his aspect on life. And I'm telling you, dude, just don't hang up on me. I swear to God, I got something so good. But I think that one of the greatest things that you've ever done is being a videographer. Okay, I just want to repeat that. I think that might be correct.
You mean like a news archivist? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's it. That is it. I mean, man, they said it, and Mox News heard it, and Mox News is posting it. Y'all said it, and this isn't mainstream coverage, and Mox News got it. So you should watch Mox News for sure. Okay, Mox, I'm getting ready to tell you something that I feel like is the greatest thing that needs to literally happen.
Okay. You go there, General.
A different way of things.
Okay.
A different way of thinking. Which, you know what? Mox News is that. You think, I swear to God, you think I'm fucking crazy here.
No, I'm listening to every word you're saying.
Okay, Mox, I'm getting ready to hit it right now. And I've been working on this for a very long time. And I want to do this right now because you have this platform that you have allowed me to be on tonight. It is about to be 2020, okay? The year 2020. They used to have a TV show called 2020. Are they going to revamp that TV show in 2020? It's about to be 2020.
That was a crazy TV show. You remember that TV show? That was a crazy TV show.
Yeah. I just turned 35 years old yesterday, Michael.
Congratulations.
And I think that is a great thing.
It seems like a good thing.
Life is good in the world. Okay, I want to do something crazy. I want to tell the world, utilizing your platform right now, because I am not on the internet, and I do not have a Facebook. I don't have 10 years of bullshit on the internet. I sit here and I'm thinking to myself, day in and day out, how can I really change the world? That's why I'm calling tonight. I feel like I have the ultimate way to change the world tonight, before 2020.
Okay.
We can do this right now, before 2020.
Okay.
You know what it is? We need to call up the Webster's Dictionary and the Wikipedia for something of the world. We need to completely change the definition of 2 words. 2 words could change the world right now, I believe. And I believe because it's going to be 2020, this is actually what it should have already been, and I shouldn't have to utilize a profile, some amazing person, and in all actuality, to be able to do this, and to be able to just change 2 definitions of 2 words, and all you have to do is just switch the 2 definitions around, and I'm going to give it to you right now. The new definition of racist is less advanced in mental or physical or social development than is for one's age. The new definition of retarded is a person who shows or feels discrimination or prejudice against people of other races, or who believes that a particular race is superior to another. Racism now equals retarded. Everybody can quit being angry. There is probably racist people out there in the world, but you know what? They're angry. They have not advanced the world for what it has supposed to be at all. And I am here to tell you tonight, the only way that the entire country can quit bitching about all kinds of bullshit that's happened throughout the entire history of the world of violence and rage. And I will tell you what, you people out there in the world that hate racism, you people need to understand that there might be some racist people out there in the world. You should not let your freedom of speech be suppressed. You should not let their freedom of speech be suppressed. You should let them fucking say whatever they want so that you know who they are. So if there is a person out there like that that's racist, you can stay away from them. You don't have to be angry all the time at these type of people out there in the world. They might actually have some kind of mental illness that, yes, the government is not going to pay for. And they are angry. And they are losing their minds. And then you are losing your mind because they hate somebody's skin color. This is 2020, people. Martin Luther King. And I'm going to say it right now. Martin Luther King.
Hey, well, Matt, you know, I think
and you know what? I'm saying right now, Martin Luther King. All men created equal. All men created equal. We are doing that. We are doing that. We have been doing that. Don't let anybody in the world try to tell you that we haven't been doing that.
Well, again,
you've been doing it forever. We have to just say right now, racism equals retarded.
Well,
racism equals hashtag racism equals retarded. Mox News, December 11th, 2019.
I've said again and again that I believe that that racism is a form of mental illness. And like you were saying.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yes, it is. It's a form of mental illness. Because you think that somehow you're judging someone that you've never met before, which isn't a possibility, and you're doing that simply because of their religion or their color of their skin or something, as you said. Go ahead.
Okay, Michael. We know that you've posted like amazing videos out there in the world that are like a bunch of racist people out there walking in front of the fucking Capitol building, and then there's a bunch of, so then there's like, you would think, a bunch of racist people. There's like a few fucking dumbass fucking people in the world that show up with their dumbass fucking shit on, and there is a giant load of people that come over there and are like, fuck you! And then all of a sudden they get right up next to each other, and the police are kind of barricading it, and then they're like screaming and yelling at each other. But really, honestly, I want to tell you, if you just put it on mute, these people are retarded.
Yeah.
It's these people. It's these people. It's not just the racist people, Michael. It's the people that hate racism as well.
Right.
Everybody just keeps feeding into it. Everybody just keeps pissing ass.
This is what
until we can change the definition of retarded to racism, then we're never going to fucking figure this out. We're never going to advance as a society ever. And the aliens on Ancient Aliens are going to listen to this right now, and they are going to fucking laugh their asses off, and they are going to be like, this dude was right. That's all you really need to do is really understand that there is people out there that you yourself might be retarded. These people that the doctors and things like that said in the world that are the ones retarded, that sit in a hospital, and people call them retarded, and then you're not supposed to call them retarded, and they don't want to be called retarded. And you know what? They do nothing. They do nothing but greatness. Fucking probably have a positive attitude every single day, changing the world by just gracing someone that has a job with their absolute sincerity of life, and somebody probably going to call them retarded. No, not anymore. Because you know what? They are actually advancing the world. The people that are angry about racism and fucking non-racist people are the ones that are causing this shit to never be advanced. That is why you have to change the word, the definition, right now, today. Before 2020, and everybody that's listening right now that heard my fucking ass saying I wanted to call in tonight, and Michael fucking let me be privileged enough to fucking tell the world this shit right now. This is not shit. This is great. This is what is greatness. You're not supposed to use the word retarded? Why? You can't think because we don't want all these people to figure out that they are actually the ones fucking retarded. Going into college campuses and fucking thinking they are fucking so smart. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never even stepped foot on a college campus unless I had to fucking work a fucking hard-ass job doing some bullshit for some construction company. No, honestly,
hey, man, I hear you. But when you say retarded, it's like I said again. Is it I consider racism to be a form of mental illness, which is
have to switch. You have to switch. I think Webster's dictionary. Imagine this, Michael. Downtown Seattle, Channel 10 News. Oh my gosh, we just found out today that the Webster's Dictionary in 2020, here it is, January 1st, the year 2020. Well, we just found out some new information here that the Webster's Dictionary actually changed 2 different definitions. They switched 2 words with their definition. Can you understand this? It's actually not that hard to understand. You just have to switch the word retarded with the word racist, and you get this definition. And from the year 2020 on, this is how we are going to be happy in the world. And understand that if you see a racist person, stay the fuck away from them. Don't get angry, beat the shit out of them and kill them. Just stay away from them. Don't end up in prison, beating the shit out of their face, stabbing them with a knife, shooting them with a gun. Just stay the fuck away from the stupid racist person if you think he's racist. Because in fact, the new definition of racism actually means less advanced in mental, physical, or social development than is for one's age. Retarded now means the definition that used to be racist. Retarded now means
I get it.
A person who shows or feels discrimination or prejudice against people of other races, or who believes that a particular race is superior than another.
And I agree with you. I agree with you about the fact that when you give in to hating on those people, that you're part of the problem. That you then become triggered, or in a way you become retarded yourself, right? Because you're being triggered by these retarded people, and no one should be triggered by someone who's mentally ill, which is what retarded means.
You know what? I just want to let you know, I just feel like that we should just call the real retarded people for who they are. It's not the retarded people that some doctors and some fucking dictionary is trying to basically tell you.
It's a good idea.
These people are the ones.
I get it.
Okay, and I just want to just say one thing here, last thing, if I could.
Okay.
Okay, you have a car engine. The timing has to be perfect, which is right now. It's about to be 2020, people. Hashtag 2020. Racism equals retarded. You have a timing in your vehicle. You have your engine. The timing, man and woman is so great. Created the engine. The timing. If the timing is off, you have to either retard the timing or advance the timing to get it to fucking run correctly. We are not advancing the timing. We are retarding the timing. Michael, I love you. Thank you so much for fucking letting me speak this.
Okay, Matt, anytime.
I have fucking worked on this shit for so long, and people still to this day cannot understand this.
Yeah,
they're like, oh my god, like really? Oh my god, like Channel 10 News. Oh, we're gonna switch the definition.
No, we get it.
Of retarded.
Yeah, no, we get it.
Yeah, we're doing that. We're doing that. We're not retarding anymore. We're not gonna let everybody out there in the world try to fucking just keep creating all this negativity.
And you know what? And I get it. It's a good plan because, like I said, you don't get triggered by people that are retarded. You know, you go, oh well, there's something wrong with that person, and you keep moving on. But the
you know what?
But the people, the racist people, they're just triggering everybody everywhere, and that kind of feeds the whole thing. Like, oh yeah, we're doing it right because we got those people mad. You know what I mean? So
what if you stopped being mad? What if you stopped being mad at a racist person? What if you did? They have nothing to do. All of a sudden, their fucking kids heard this shit on the news. Mom, I don't want to be fucking retarded.
Yeah.
You're fucking retarded. We raised you retarded. You're going to be retarded the rest of your life. Because we hate everything.
Because we're filled with hate.
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like that doesn't even really exist as much as people try to portray. I really don't.
Yeah.
You want me to end on one more?
Okay.
One more great thing that I thought about?
Okay.
Let's go ahead and just say, hypothetically, that the small town of Seattle somewhere, these cops decided to trade in their bullets for THC tranquilizer darts, just to see what happened. And in fact, it has created world peace. Suddenly, the police show up to a disturbance. This guy is freaking out. And all of a sudden, they just put 2 shots of THC tranquilizer darts into his stomach, and suddenly the cops and the suspect are at Taco Bell getting a couple of Burritos Locos tacos. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to end racism tomorrow. That's the way. Racism equals retarded. Retarded equals racism. You just switch the 2 definitions around. Somebody needs to call Webster's Dictionary. Somebody needs to fucking make this go viral because of motherfucking Mox News. Everybody's gonna fucking be too afraid to comprehend this. I can't wait to hear somebody. You know what? I have completely listened to this entire phone call. And you know what? I just think that I just want to keep things the same. I just want to keep calling the same people retarded that we always have, and I just want to fucking just keep racism going because it sells, just like sex sells, and it just keeps everybody divided. And we will never be united. Just keeps everybody divided, and we will never be united. Oh my God, Martin Luther motherfucking King, motherfucker. All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks for calling. That guy had I heard at least 5 different voices in that guy's head. Did you hear all the different voices that guy was doing? I heard at least 5 different voices in that guy's head. Oh, here's the troll. Hold on.
This call.
Okay, I'm pressing 1. Hello, caller.
Hey, I called earlier about giving weed to people as you as Santa Claus. Can you do like a 2nd or 3rd round with that guy?
Well, anyways, like I was saying, I was just thinking yesterday that I better get to baking cookies and brownies because the neighbors need some cookies and brownies, and it's Christmas, you know, and that's what you do on Christmas. You take cookies around to make everybody happy, put a smile on their face. I make the snickerdoodles, the kind that make you snicker. So I was thinking about that yesterday. You know, I got to go drop off cookies and stuff to everybody. I was wondering, come on, man.
Press 1 to take this call.
Yes.
Don't forget about showing your tits.
Yeah. We already did that. We did that like a bunch of times, dude. How many times do you got to see my tits? So, anyways, I got to go make cookies and brownies and such for the neighbors because 'tis the season. And I think that will put a big smile on their face. So, if anybody else wanted to call, I got a South Park to watch here in about 15 minutes. So you better get calling if you want to call. Otherwise, I believe we are done here for this evening. I thought last night's show was pretty good. I thought tonight's show was pretty good. You know, so I like the way things are going. I hope you guys are enjoying the way things are going too, because you know, I think that we're getting to a decent place. You know, and I'm looking forward to that continuing. Right? I hope you guys are, because we're doing this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. That's that guy. That's that same guy, man. Let's try it again. Okay. Yes.
I have no idea. I totally forgot, man.
He sounds a little bit like Drunk Pete. I don't think it's Drunk Pete, but he sounds a little bit like Drunk Pete. All right, so let's see. We got. I guess we're done here. Don't forget, there's Santa on South Park tonight, and you know why I love that. Santa is a kick-ass motherfucker on South Park, and oh, look at this. We got someone else.
To take this call.
Hello, caller.
Yeah, man. Why you mad at Trump and shit, man?
Well, today Trump signed an executive order saying that you can no.
You can't say bad shit about black folk.
That's not what he said.
That's what he said.
No, it's not.
Well, what did he do?
He signed an executive order saying you can't say bad stuff about Israel.
What?
That's right. Okay?
Fuck that shit, man.
That's right. Fuck that shit.
I thought he was talking about Africa.
No, he's talking about Israel.
You can't say bad shit about Africa.
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit about. Hey, I'm a fucking American. I can say bad shit about anybody I want to say bad shit about.
You can't say bad shit about Africa.
I can say bad shit. Fucking Africa is a shithole. How's that?
That's against the law, bro.
Whatever. Call the cops, motherfucker.
What you talking about, man? Everybody know you can't say bad shit about Africa.
But all I'm saying is Trump he signed an executive order today saying that it's now a hate crime if you talk shit about Israel.
What? You say Israel gay, you get in trouble?
I think if you say Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinian people, you go on a list, and a whole bunch of other bad things.
Oh, I get it now. I guess because Palestinians, black folk. That's why.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I see what's happening now. Yeah, I see, man.
You see what's happening? I'm speaking out against Trump because he's talking shit about black
straight
people.
Straight up racism, man.
Yeah, fucking bullshit. And not just that. It's a crime against humanity to try and censor people. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, what's your name?
Leon.
Hey, Leon. Thanks for calling, man. Where are you calling from?
Chicago, man.
Chicago. It's cold there, huh?
Chi-town. I shack. She-shack, whatever they call it.
Right on. You like it there?
I love it, man.
Right on. Well, that's cool. It seemed like it'd be a cool place to visit. I mean, I've been there once, so I know it's an interesting place to visit, but I don't think I'd want to live there. It's too damn cold.
Yeah, well, we say the same thing about Seattle.
It rains here, but we like the rain.
That's all the gay people live, man.
There's gay people here. There's gay people everywhere, I guess, right?
But I think you got more.
It's possible. There's a lot of gay people
here. They're totally gay. Like Israel.
I don't know. I think they have a lot of gay people there, too.
Yeah, I bet you there's more, actually.
Right on, Leon.
They get upset when you say bad things about them, man.
Leon, you watch South Park?
No.
No? Okay. Well, Santa's going to be on tonight, so it's going to be a good one.
Whee! All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for calling, Leon.
Be cool.
You too.
Don't do nothing fucked up.
I'm trying.
All right, man. See you.
Okay, so thanks to Leon for calling. That was nice. He was laughing. He's got a good attitude. You heard him laughing. Hey, we got another caller. Look at this. From the 419 area code. Hello, caller.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you doing?
Michelle!
Yes, sir.
Did you get off early again today?
What's that?
You get off early again today?
No, regular time.
What time is it where you're at?
I'm on Central Time.
What time is it?
Central Time right now it's 11:52.
So it's like midnight there.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yep. That's why when you have a longer show, I have a better chance to get on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but shoot, man. So, you've had interesting callers today, huh?
It's always interesting, Michelle, you know.
You know, right?
Yeah.
I'll listen to you while I'm at work with my earbuds.
Right
and
on.
I'm working, I listen to you, and on my way home and shit, and try to keep up to see what the hell's going on.
Right on. I'm glad to hear you're around, Michelle, because it's always nicer when you're here.
Ah, you're so sweet. Well, you say that to everybody.
Well, but it's true. I say it's because it's true.
Aw, well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
So what's going on with you, Michelle? Are you taking time off for the holidays or?
Yeah, we got a couple of. Well, actually, we got like 10 days off.
Oh, that sounds awesome, dude! Congratulations.
I'm excited. Oh my gosh, forget about it. Yeah, I'm so excited. Everybody at work's like already at the countdown, you know.
For sure.
Oh shit, hell yeah. So it's going good. Everybody at work and everywhere else seems to have the holiday spirit, and you know, it's just like a lot of people. I wish that they were at Christmas time all year round. You know.
I always thought, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, you gotta spread joy or whatever, you know, why don't we gotta spread joy all year round, you know?
No, they only accept that at Christmas time.
I think it doesn't make sense, you know.
Yeah, it's like people all my time, but only at Christmas time. Yeah. And it's like, and you can see the people's demeanor, you know, around you, how, you know, the grumpiest motherfucker, you know, it's almost like the Scrooge, right?
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, you know, they're all fucking happy-go-lucky, and it's just all like, wow, you know, whatever. But it feels good because, like, if people could keep that in their fucking hearts year-round, man, this would be a better place.
Yeah, for sure. I always have a smile on my face, and I'm always saying hi to everybody I walk by, pretty much. You know, because that's where I want to live. You know, I want to live in a place where people are smiling and friendly. You know, so I try and do that. I mean, because I'm pretty key to that. You know, that I am where I live. So, you know.
I'm with you on that, Mike. You know, it's like I live by the golden rule. Do unto others and you will have them do unto you. And I think they made it specific for what you do in the bed war.
Yeah, well, I think, it's do unto others, then split. No, I think that for me it was always, you know, like that. It's, you know, I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. You know, I mean, that's what we were talking about that earlier. Like, if the cops want to be respected, then the cops need to treat people with respect. You know, that's how it works.
Right, but it comes down to another part of that. It's like, you know, that's one of my, you know, I live by that rule. But another thing is common sense, Mike. And common sense to me is just like, you know, you got to fucking know where you're at. You got to realize that not everybody has the same heart as you.
Mm-hmm.
But it means you have to be fucking cold and shut everybody out either. You know?
Yeah, no, I
give it a shot, be nice. You know, everybody's always defining the holidays nowadays. You know, even fucking going to the store. Look, Black Friday everybody was always super excited, Mike. Within the last couple of years or few years, they started having Black Friday on Thursday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
I was like, you greedy motherfuckers, you just couldn't wait for fucking Black Friday because they were hurting. And they still are hurting.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to see in January. Well, the Black Friday sales are going on again. And why? Because no matter what everybody says that the economy is good and everybody's got a job, and it's just like, you guys are not figuring out, okay, everybody has a job, but everyone is different, everybody's pay is different. So if you got a fucking job that all you're doing is working just to fucking live, no extracurricular activities, no fucking nothing, just work to pay your bills. You know, and they say the economy is good. That's why these sales are going on the way they are, because they know they don't have the consumers that they used to have. You know.
Well, the brick and mortar stores are pretty desperate. You know, they don't have just don't have the traffic that they used to have. Amazon has really taken a big cut into everybody, and
Mike.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm saying, you know, Did you hear my? I told everybody that Santa's going to be on South Park tonight. Did you hear me saying that?
Yeah, you're so fucking excited about that, dude.
Yeah.
Can't you just record it?
Yeah, I record it, of course.
Okay, then cool, man.
I have like 50. I have like 50 episodes on my DVR.
You're so fucking cheesy, Mike. God damn it. I gotta watch a cartoon, goddamn. No, but I feel you, man.
No, I saying that because you brought up fuck Amazon, and I was saying, you know, Santa was saying as he flew away on the last time he was on South Park, he said, have fun sucking Jeff Bezos' dick, you bunch of cucks, you know, and I love that. I mean, how many people have the balls to say something like that about the, you know, like the richest guy in the world, you know?
Shit. And you know what? And that was funny because me and Jackie were laughing. It's like, I guess we got to catch up to South Park. I was just like, oh fuck.
You know, Michelle, I've had a couple people say that they never liked South Park, and then they listened to me talk about it, and they went back and watch it, and they're like, fucking, I love South Park now.
Dude, I was watching them in the beginning, but the light got in the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I stopped watching. I said, but shit, I'm going to have to get back on it. Look, because of you, shit, you should call them and say, hey, you got to be my sponsor.
No, you know, I wish that they would make a character out of me. I don't care about being a sponsor. I just want to be a South Park character. You know, that's all.
That would be fucking awesome for one episode, dude, right?
Yeah.
Just a cameo, hey? Oh, my God, that would be fucking awesome.
And
who would you want to fucking share the scenes with?
Oh, I would want to be who would I want to share what?
The scenes with, like her.
Everybody. I would want to be like they used to do public access television on there all the time, and I would want to be like one of those guys on the public access television.
Oh my God, that would be funny, man. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
really.
And then the guys are like calling in, doing prank calls and stuff, you know.
Yeah, prank, man. Those fucking prank callers are so fucking lame. Jesus.
You know, they are what they are.
You know, entertainment and everything, and they'd be like, all right, go ahead, but
did you hear
callers get better?
Did you hear the voicemails from earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, quick.
Yes, yeah. That dude reminded me of that. What's that? Like, it's like an animation. I think it's American Dad.
Huh? I don't know. Yeah.
Name, but that caller sounds just like him.
Huh?
And it's funny as fuck. Cause I was like, oh shit. He was fucking showing his cojones when he was talking to you, but behind the scenes, look what happened. I was like, ain't that a bitch? Literally. Because he was all like, I'm going to echo Thug laugh while I'm all lying. Listen to me, motherfucker, hear me. Meow.
That was pretty funny.
Oh, God damn, I heard that fucking voicemail and I was just like, dude, now I'm in the mic.
Yeah.
But that was fucking awesome. Good job, Craig.
Yeah, I thought that was good job too, Craig. I thought that was a good job on that. He worked on that for a little bit.
That was sweet. That was worthwhile, man. I was fucking entertained. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I remember hearing those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Oh, no, man. Like, goddamn. Just like tonight, the caller that he had, Mr. Whisperer, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
He was all like, hey, motherfucker. And you know what? Mr. Whisperer, you know, it's just my opinion. Nothing bad of you. But I'm just saying, Mr. Whisperer talking about, I just turned 35 years old. I know everything. And I was like, happy birthday to you, sweetheart. But, I mean, he was fired up, dude.
Yeah. There's been a couple of them tonight. This guy keep trying to the troll guy, the show your tits guy. He keeps calling while you're on the phone here. He keeps trying to beep in through you. He's like, let me call again. Let me call again.
He's so fucking, you know what? Just let him keep fucking calling, because you know what? I think you're entertaining them. I mean, look, you can fucking, listen to their lame and that fucking shit, because you already know. You know, you already got them on fucking phone ID. You're cool. Now, Woko, I don't know what the fuck he's doing wasting his time with this certain person that I'm just like, dude, before we used to interact, but all this time is like defending himself the whole freaking time as to repeating the same statement, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you're wasting your time on this one. I don't know who this new fucking, asshole is, because fuck troll, I'm old school, man. I just want to say that this fucking asshole that keeps coming up there talking shit to Woko, he's a fucking technical, because what the fuck? You ain't got nothing else to do? And I believe that the same motherfucker on a Friday night that was talking shit when he should be out on a date with the girl or his fucking mom. You know what I'm saying? I don't get this shit. Woko is wasting so much fucking time. And you know what, Mike? He emailed me a fucking awesome fucking, pretty much letter. I was just like, oh shit.
He's an awesome guy, Michelle. He's a really awesome guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know that, because I was reading all that, and I was just like, oh my god, I don't want to say anything about it because, it's private. But, what I'm saying is that this motherfucker on here is constantly, poking sleeping bear, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on? I understand freedom of speech and everything, but if it's going to consume you, he starts to fucking ignore this mother instead of, I got blah, 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 diabetes or whatever the fuck. Fuck this motherfucker.
You got to stick your tongue out when you say it and say, I'm Scott Mackinson and I have diabetes. You got to stick your tongue out. That's how you say it right. I'm Scott Mackinson and I have diabetes.
What? Oh my god, you're fucking too damn much, man. God damn it, Mike. But see, that's all funny and everything, and I know what Woko is doing. It's kind of like, like a dig, put the punch to the face, come to the handle shit. But you know what? With these motherfuckers, they ain't even worth it. And they're not even more when they're talking shit to Jackie. Fuck you, asshole, straight up. I don't even remember your fucking name, you fucking dickhead. But you all really trying to fucking say shit, oh, look at Jackie defending her acting like she did. Motherfuckers, man. You got some new ones on your chat, man. They're a bunch of fucking assholes, and I don't give a fuck. I'm MS Michelle 77, bitch. These motherfuckers need to calm the fuck down and realize that you don't just come on here just to fucking bash people. You're fucking being an adult. Get grown up and have a conversation with fucking douchebag. It's not going in it and look for MTV, the real lives of fucking some cocksucker or whatever. They don't fall on this shit, man. These guys are fucking idiots. And every time they speak their mouth and say stupid shit about Woko being dead, fuck you, you're stupid as fuck. Like, pathetic. I could find 1,000 things to do other than talking shit about this one person. Let me see if I can make this guy have a bad night on this fucking chat. Like, yeah, that's my goal for the night. You fucking douchebag, just fucking get off your mommy's fucking shit. You move out of the goddamn basement, you fucking loser. Jesus Christ, man. It's fucking ridiculous, Mike.
I love that TV show, Michelle. The Hollywood Housewives of Some Cocksucker. I love that. That would make a great show.
You can start on your fucking chat, goddammit.
You know what? I mean, this is part of the deal. There are going to be people who come and go and whatever. I mean, it's just we're going to do our best to make levity of it. And when with the voicemails and stuff, and that Tony whoever guy he was the other night, he was talking. He was actually doing a live TV show or live YouTube or live Twitch or something when he called the show. So he was streaming our show on his live show, and he called the show and then was like giving me shit about the way I talk and stuff. And but then he called back later. And then we went to check his YouTube page after that, right? And they shut it down for some kind of copyright violation. So that guy got fucked. But whatever, you know. I mean, I thought this is just you know, we're gonna have to make the most of what we're doing here, and the trolls are gonna be part of it for sure. The trolls have always been part of Mox News, and you know So we just have to, you know, expect it and deal with it accordingly. It's not like they're really hurting anybody, you know.
They're not fucking hurting anybody, Mike. You know, said that. Yeah. The only thing I'm saying is that Woko needs to set his priorities and quit paying them so much fucking attention and get involved in shit that he wants to talk about. You know? So I thought more like, hi, and he just like, hi, and then that's it, back to the troll. Like, dude, get your priorities in check, Wilco. You know, that's all I'm saying. It's like, yeah, I know the people that are fucking gonna troll and whatever the hell, they're gonna be there, but it's like, he was the one that told me, ignore the trolls. This motherfucker's got a goddamn diary with him, with the trolls. Like, dude. You know, practice what you preach, right?
Well, everybody deals with stuff differently. You know, if he saw, he saw them. He felt that the trolls were hurting your feelings, so he's telling you to ignore them. He tries to put them in. He tries to put them in his place, however it is that he sees fit to do so. You know, and that's what you're doing now too. So,
well, I'm just telling him I don't need to be defended. You know, I appreciate him. He's a great fucking guy. But these other motherfuckers need to understand what I just said. You know, but no, me and Rocco, we're cool. I don't need nobody to defend me. We already fucking got all that shit squashed and what happened. You know, like I said, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
So everything's good. The only thing I'm saying is that he's just wasting his time with these fucking jackasses.
Well,
that's all he's doing. These guys are coming up with some off-the-wall fucking shit, and I'm just over here like, I can't get happy enough to make sense of this shit.
I think what it is, you know, is you see people like come in and they act like trolls, and then they mature or something, and maybe he's trying to like keep their attention or whatever. I don't know. He's a smart guy, and he has whatever it is that he's doing, you know. And I have what I'm doing, and you have what you're doing, and we're all smart people, and that's what we have to understand and move forward, believing in each other, right?
You can't even believe what you fucking said from the get-go. Shut up. It's all good. Everybody's got their own opinion, whatever. That's why I'm just saying mine.
Yeah.
You know,
right, which I said.
These fools, I'm just like, you know, like when I came in, it was Wilco, it was Jackie, Craig, and there's a couple of, like, Dwayne and Dez and shit.
Drunk Pete.
Yeah, yeah, that did too. And so these guys just come out of nowhere, and I just see, you know, Wilco always come up with some good shit to say, you know, to talk about, hey, this is what happened.
And Mitchell, where the fuck is Mitchell at? Mitchell's usually here. Why the fuck? Mitchell hasn't been here for a couple days. What's wrong with her? Speaking of trolls.
I'm telling you. But you know what? And that's what I'm telling you. It's the fact that now that I'm back to work, I can't fucking be looking at my fucking phone and finding up-to-date shit. That's why I'm counting on you to be the news and shit. And Wilco, before, you could fucking have shit on there and he would say, yeah, this is what's going on today and whatever. That's the kind of update shit I need. And he's just consumed with this guy. Like, I know it's nothing to him, you know, but damn, man, you can't let them control the conversation either, you know?
They don't control anything with me, Michelle.
No, I'm talking about speaking Wilco.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's what he's doing. Again, he's this really smart guy, you know, and so I, you know,
oh
so,
my God.
So I have faith in whatever it is he's doing. I have faith in him, Michelle. I think I would recommend that you do too.
Okay. Okay. Hey, what happened what did Trump do amidst this shit? Trump something with the Israelis.
He signed an executive order saying that it's illegal to speak out against Israel. So yeah, it's illegal to talk about, to show support for the boycott, divest, and he's calling it anti-Semitic speech, but they use the boycott, divest, and sanction movement as an example of hate speech, which is now considered hate speech against Jewish people.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, which makes Donald Trump clearly an enemy to the Constitution. These fucking retarded Democrats keep talking about, we swore an oath to protect from all enemies to the Constitution, foreign and domestic, okay? Well, this is the fact, right? This is where Donald Trump becomes a clear enemy to the Constitution, and the line should be drawn in the sand appropriately.
Oh, shit.
So we're all on the same page, Michelle.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit. Unbelievable. No? I don't even know why I said that. Because every time I say, like, man, he can't stop another one.
Well, it's weird that he does it in the middle of this whole impeachment thing, but he's trying to get this support. He's trying to gin up the support for the election, and there's like this huge block of what they call evangelical voters, and they're all hot for Israel, and anything pro-Israel, guarantees their vote or whatever. So
if Americans would wake up and realize that we give them $50 billion or something like that.
We give them $4 billion a year.
Mike, Israel has free health care thanks to the United States of America.
And free college.
And yet the Americans are just all like, no, we can't afford it. We can't do this and that. It's just like ridiculous. And it's just like, why? If we can give it to another country, why can they not take care of themselves? Like, it's fucking crazy. All that fucking money.
Israel doesn't need our money. Israel does not need our money. So I don't know why the fuck we give Israel money. It's bullshit.
Michael, let me give you $1 million. You're gonna turn down?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Oh my God, that is so fucked up. Meanwhile, he's talking about don't talk shit about them, but you know what? You do as you will here in the United States of America to whoever you want.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's not like he's saying you can't talk shit about the United States, right? So, I mean, fuck you, Donald Trump. It's fine to talk shit about the United States, but not about Israel. Fuck you, Donald Trump. I mean, not that I don't think it's fine to talk shit about the United States. I think, and just don't tell me who I can talk about and who I can't talk about, because you're not the fucking boss of me. Okay? And I'm tired of anybody who wants to act like they are. So.
Who's your favorite? Who's Trump's favorite? Who does he admire?
It seems like all the dictator people,
Exactly. Fucking, you can nail it right on the head, man. That's exactly who he admires, and that's what he wants.
Yeah.
That's why he did that fucking bullshit on July 4th, Independence Day. Let's bring up some tanks. And what the fuck is wrong with you, bitch? It's supposed to be about freedom. How you bringing tanks up, and when you see tanks, it equals war.
Right.
Right. Since he's been in the goddamn White House, man, I have not celebrated July 4th. It doesn't feel the same. He put up the open ones, at least they lied to me and did shit behind closed doors, Obama. He didn't fucking just slap it right in my face. Hey, motherfucker, I want you to understand.
No, he did. No, he did, Michelle. He did. He was very smooth about slapping it in your face.
He was very eloquent about that.
He was very smooth at doing
it. Simple fucking words. It's just like, goddamn, he really doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's like cutting food stamps up those people. I'm just like, what the fuck? Merry Christmas, bitches. Like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah,
maybe
right.
for following him.
Exactly.
Like, he's always fucking looking out for us. It's like, really? Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's strange, man.
Yeah, and then he cuts food stamps right before Christmas, and then these Christian people are all like, "Oh, yay!" How, you know what? I mean, how can you be Christian and think that that's a good thing that needy people have their fucking food stamps cut right before Christmas, your sacred fucking holiday?
Like, all those fucking people that always act like, oh, they're so religious and shit like that. I go to church every Sunday. Well, you know what? Good fucking for you. But they're the first people that are judging everybody. They're the first people that are acting like I went to church, so I have a right to come out here and be like, did you go to church? Well, I did, and you did it. You're sinful. Bitch, Jesus said, you're not supposed to judge anybody. So when you go to church, it's like, go and act like, I'm just going to pretend that I'm fucking, religious, just so I can put it in other people's faces. They're going for church for the wrong reasons. You get it? All they're doing it is for, like, supposedly prestige. What's so prestige when you go to church when you don't practice what you preach? Everybody, all of them are so judgmental. And that comes from a very strict religious family, that they were always all like, oh, you shouldn't be this way, you shouldn't be that way. And I'm looking at them like, damn, but you're doing everything that you telling me not to do. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I hear you, Michelle. I totally hear you. I don't, I hate all the religion. I honestly believe these organized religions are all against God. They're like a spitting in God's face. Honestly, that's the way I see the organized religions.
Interesting. And you know what? I always said that because it says I never take any other idol than your God. And that's what I tell, my family, because they're like, do you go to church all the time? I was like, no. I said, but wherever I am, I said, the only thing that I care in life is God. But that's my own belief. That's my own communication with Him. That's my own relationship with Him. I don't need to fucking tell the whole world that I believe in God because I do. It's just like, shit, whatever the fuck you want extra, for me to go over there and put money in a little bitty basket, where the fuck you going to?
Hey, Michelle, did you hear earlier when I was talking about this strain of weed that I found? It's called God's Vagina. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best part of it. No one missed it.
Yeah, no, I right at the beginning I was talking about how because yesterday I was talking about how there was this plant that I found that I wanted to grow, but it takes like 4 months to veg and you got to have a big space and all this stuff, And I was like, but I really want to grow it, and I couldn't remember why I wanted to grow it so bad. And then I thought as soon as I got off the show, I was like, oh, it's God's vagina, and I was like, I want to talk about God's vagina. I want to smell God's. I want to talk about how good God's vagina smells. I want to rub my face in God's vagina. I want to take picture after picture and video after video of God's vagina.
Oh my God, dude, your fucking title could be "The Day I Smoked God's Vagina."
Exactly.
You get someone to get on that shit, forget about it.
I want to grind God's vagina up and burn it.
Grinding God's vagina. I love that shit, man. You know what? That is so epic. You gotta do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna write them really soon and tell them, hey, I gotta grow your fucking weed, so please send me some seeds, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah, first do what you're gonna do in the tent and stuff, and then use that fertilizer and shit. It's only gonna get better.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, because you gotta prepare for God's vagina,
Yeah. Hey, Michelle, I gotta go. I gotta go.
I know, that's what I was just gonna say. I'm very thankful for you taking time out to fucking bullshit me, entertain me, and whatnot. But I know you gotta go watch your show, enjoy it, and thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Michelle. It's always nicer when you're here. I'm really glad you got a chance to call, and that's why we stuck around to hear from you. So you know.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Good night, Wilco and Jackie, and I stick to what I said. All right, Mikey, have a good night.
Okay, Michelle, we'll talk again soon. Bye.
Bye, bro.
Okay, and the anonymous, the troll guy is calling one more time, I think. If not, oh, there he is. I thought we let the troll caller call one more time. Hello.
You're right. It was the troll guy.
Yeah, I know. So, did you have something to say before we go? Oh, that's all I had to say? Okay, good enough. All right, you guys. I am out of here. We are going to do that. We're doing this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Thanks so much for tuning in. It would be completely meaningless without you, and it's always so much nicer when you're here. So please tune in again soon. Same Mark's time, same Mark's channel, and stop fucking with me. And we will see you again tomorrow, I hope. Bye. Go watch South Park. Santa's on South Park.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com